And yep, it looks like we're online. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm CommanderJonas, and I'm here today with my friend Samuraiknight-1600.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
And we're here on a Saturday where Tigerface Sweet was supposed to join us, but unfortunately he's busy with some school-related work, so he won't be attending today, unfortunately.
Crap.
Yeah, it's a little sad, but and he has also told me he regrets that he couldn't come, but he has, however, at the same time told me that however, I have informed him that he's allowed to join later if he gets the time for it. And I'm having some really weird issues right now.
I'm having commercial that lags.
I'm just having lag in game, which
Shit.
is generally what you don't want,
No. You don't want that.
especially when you're streaming.
Son of a bitch.
I said, what the heck?
Oh, nice shirt.
Thank you. My favorite shirt. It's when I got it a while back. It's from something called Sir Muso. Sir Muso.
Moose?
Muso. M-U-S-O.
Muso.
Yeah, something like along those lines. Now, where the heck is it? Ah, over here. Found it.
Check one of the windows.
Yeah, I found it. We're here now. And...
Well, I obviously don't see because it's delayed.
Yeah. Just gotta wait a little bit. And this
Ah, go on. I'll see it eventually.
yeah. This is really strange. It's just... I don't understand the lag.
Let's hope we can finish this.
Yeah. I hope we can finish this today as well.
What's wrong with the arm?
Yeah, I don't know either. Just trying to see if I can...
It's having an epileptic shock!
A severed arm that has an epileptic shock.
Or maybe it's just the needle hitting the nerve system.
No, I'm... yeah, I've actually tried moving this around. That doesn't help. I think it's because this is a jiggle bone. It's messing up, so... There's that.
Tickly.
Oh, well. So, let's get to work. We kept things in a somewhat organized manner last time. Gonna see if we can recreate that. Or at
Did
least...
you get any screenshots or anything of the last thing?
the last thing, you mean what we did last time, or...
Yeah, the progress, so you can recreate it.
I don't think I have that one. I don't have any screenshots from it or anything. I'm just going by memory.
I always do documentation, screenshot, progress in work. So in case something happens, I can recreate it.
I do see one little thing here that we forgot. Trying to recreate the most edgy thing I ever did, or at least one of the most edgy things I ever did.
I personally say that there are two kinds of edgy. Good edgy and bad edgy.
Yeah,
Edgy doesn't mean bad.
that just means creepy as hell.
Oh god, that
What?
arm creeps me out.
Yeah, me too. For the time being, let's just ignore it.
It's kind of difficult.
If possible, try and ignore it. See a frying pan over here? I don't know, you can't see that. Oh, you can actually. Barely. Alrighty. So, what have you been doing lately?
Not much. My motivation is quite low still.
Okay. I don't just mean, what have you been doing in general? Have you had anything interesting happening in your life or something?
Nope. Just helping my parents with the garden.
That's good. At least you're getting some exercise.
Huh.
You still on a diet, or
What?
are you still on a diet, or like
You can say it. It's been a bit. Let's say I've been cheating a bit lately.
well,
But I have been exercising today.
that's good.
But yeah, I still try to avoid bread and such because it contains carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
Food like that.
Yeah. I haven't been doing anything that interesting lately. Like, I've just been trying to go to work, and I'm going to some kind of job counseling lately to see if I need a change of career. And otherwise, nothing interesting is really happening. I bought a car a while back. Not too long ago.
A car?
Yeah, a car.
Neat.
It's good. It's nice. Makes getting around a little bit easier.
I don't even have a license.
Getting a license is recommended, but
I am working on it.
that's good.
Gonna send the papers soon.
Well, it's a good thing. What was that?
What?
I think I heard something. Ah, it's probably nothing. It's probably nothing worth mentioning.
Ugh. You know, I once saw this clip on YouTube where a streamer on Twitch was live streaming, and in the background there was a home invasion
That's
in the
pretty.
middle of a live stream.
That's pretty bad. What streamer was that exactly?
I don't remember. You're the only Twitch person I actually watch regularly. Regularly.
Yeah,
I saw it at a compilation on YouTube.
that mini compilation I uploaded.
Oh,
Or are you saying you normally watch compilations? That's
no, it was from a YouTube channel uploading certain things.
okay.
And the topic of that upload was weird things happening live on Twitch.
Ah, okay. I also watch compilations only. I almost never watch live streams. Like, there's only one real live stream I'm watching regularly, and I'm not sure it qualifies because it's a podcast. So, I don't know if it qualifies. It's my favorite online show, the Co-optional Podcast. I watch every week. It's a really great show. It's where four different YouTube personalities. It's Total Biscuit, Dodger.
Biscuit.
Total Biscuit.
That name rings the bell.
It's Total Biscuit is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, video game critic on YouTube. He has like 2 million subscribers, and he's done the WTF Is series for, I think, 6 years by now.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, he does a lot of things. His nickname is also Cynical Brit. He's British and he's highly cynical. Obviously.
So he doesn't joke with his pudding.
He's the kind of guy who looks pretty negatively on many different things. Like, many different things that he will investigate will have this really negative aspect about. He'll often look at the negative sides of things and such. Like, whenever I look at something, I try to find the positives, right? He often finds the negatives. And I also
reminds me a bit about Tiger Face.
Yeah, but he's a really cynical guy. But I mean, he's cynical in the right kind of way. He's not. I mean, he's not an angry guy. Like, he's not the type who's. He's not the type who's basically saying that everything is bad, and he's not the type that says and he's not the kind of type who like takes something and just says, "Oh, this is bad," or or finds dumb excuses to say that something is bad. He's not that kind of guy. He's a guy who looks at things critically,
Yeah.
and you
I
know,
probably just connected him to this guy because they both speak English in an English accent, like British.
well, there's that. I mean, and he has cancer, but that's a whole other thing.
Ouch.
Yeah, but he's still alive so far. But yeah, either way. But
Yeah, but the
yeah,
last thing we need is another dead YouTuber.
YouTubers die all the time.
Yeah, but always the ones I like.
I got that feeling too sometimes.
Most heartbreaking was probably the death of what was his name? Kitty or something.
Kitty7606.
Yeah, he who made those awesome Garry's
Yeah.
Mod videos.
I'm kind of getting irritated about the thing about Kitty, and that is, for the time being at least, it's for the last while. Whenever someone has been mentioning him, it's like people are every time his name is brought up now, it's with an RIP thing next to it. It's almost becoming an internet meme that Kitty is dead. I find that kind of irritating.
Well, I've gotten over it, so...
Yeah, I've gotten over it too, but it's like every time someone mentions Kitty or something by now, it's as if we're mentioning him because of the fact he's dead, and that's kind of irritating me.
Well, I only mention it because it's in the same topic we're talking about.
Yeah, but
YouTubers dying.
a lot of YouTubers have died. But I'm
Yep.
saying YouTubers die all the time because almost anyone is on YouTube, really, so when
Yeah.
someone dies, they die, you know. That's
I
how
was
life...
more speaking about the bigger names.
Yeah, okay. Guess there's that.
Okay, I see a lot of wrenches. Or
Red what?
Wrenches. Like the one NG uses. I don't remember how to pronounce them.
Yeah, wrenches. Yeah,
Wrenches.
I'm adding those as well. This is...
Almost like pancakes.
It's after all like a last time where you have like a workshop for CBS where he's got like melee weapons from from the floor to the ceiling essentially. I actually had an idea earlier today where if we wanted to make this even more creepy than it already is, I had that idea actually. You wanna know?
Huh?
Well, you see, if we take a look at the CBS, right, he's standing there with like an evil smile and a knife and a skull in one, or like a spine and skull in one hand, right? I had an idea where what if we did something a little bit different, where we removed the skull he's holding, because last time he was like standing there holding his the original picture, right? He was standing there holding his blade, right, with like holding the knife in one hand, right, and having the other hand touching the blade, right? I had a little idea for what we could do if we wanted to make this more creepy. We could stand where he's holding it like close to his face, where he has his tongue on the blade, like in this really creepy sense, right?
And the tongue is really sensitive, so...
Like maybe he was just like standing there like licking something, like maybe we could then just Photoshop a little bit of blood in it and such just to make things even more creepy than they already are. Which I'm honestly finding it really hard to do. You don't like the idea, or...?
It's just creeping me out. And that goddamn arm!
Shall I delete it, or move it?
No. Let's just keep it there as comic relief.
Okay. Gotta have something to laugh about, I guess. Alright, let's see here. I think this is basically all the melee weapons from the stock files in Team Fortress 2.
Make sure to save this time.
Yeah, I will. Like, right
Save it now.
We haven't been streaming for 15 minutes yet. Okay.
I always try to make regular saves.
I too, but I don't like save way too frequently, like, I try to keep some distance. Well, this is kind of nice, you know. Just the two of us sitting here, doing this.
Well, there are, according to the stream, 3 people here, and I guess 2 of them are us.
Yeah, I don't know if it counts me, but I can't really check who's watching. So, there's
I hope
that.
Time Cop. I hope Time Cop comes back. Comes. I
Well,
think it's nervous.
I don't know, I mean, like, it's like 7 in the morning, I think, in Australia right now. So, I don't know.
It was here the last time.
Yeah, but he arrived really late. You have to remember that.
Better late than never.
Should we stick for Team Fortress 2 only melee weapons, or should we try some other franchises and such?
I always try different weapons from other franchises.
That's just, you know...
Check the Fallout 3 weapons, they look quite good. Some of them at least.
Maybe.
Ooh, I see axes. Oh my god, you gotta give me this add-on. One with the axes and crossbows. Oh my god.
This one? It's called that. It's called Dawn Guard DLC. I use some of these.
Isn't that the Skyrim thing?
Yeah, I think it's Skyrim.
Skyrim has a katana?
I think it's Daedric, but I don't know much about that.
Daedric
universe.
katana?
Yeah, you know.
So Daedric or Japan?
Daedric in the Skyrim is like the evil gods, more or
I know.
less.
I like killing Daedric. They carry good loot.
I never played that game actually. Any
Skyrim.
of them. I never played any of the Skyrim games. No.
Skyrim is one game. The series is called Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, I've never actually played the Elder Scrolls, any of the games.
I played Skyrim. That's the only one I have. But I think Bethesda is quite good at making games. It can be a bit glitchy, but sometimes those glitches are funnier than the game itself.
I don't know about that entirely. Like, that depends on who you are. Right? I mean, I saw... There is,
I still think Bethesda is quite good.
Yeah, they are quite good, and they've made a lot of good games and such, but I really heard a bunch of YouTubers and such who said that they just didn't buy Fallout 4 and such on release because it was just the glitchiest thing they had ever tried in their lives. Like, it was really a game that was released as if it was an alpha game, essentially. That was what it felt like. It felt like an alpha stage game, and it was a release game. And you bought that at full price, and they said you needed metric tons of bug spray, essentially, to fix that game.
Well, I haven't had any problems with it, but then again, I waited a few months.
When did you buy it exactly?
A few months ago.
Like, because on release, that game was reported to be like the glitchiest game, the glitchiest AAA title ever released. Like, it was said, there were some people who said there was absolutely nothing in that game that worked on release.
Ouch.
Like, there was some people who said it was physically impossible to get to certain areas and such because of glitches.
Well, to Bethesda's defense, they aren't the only ones who did that.
Yeah, but
Release games too early.
Yeah, they aren't the only ones that does it, but when you think about it, like, I don't know why they released it this early. Like, I would have released it maybe a month later and then fixed as many bugs as possible. Like,
money.
Yeah, but
is the answer.
Yeah, but they should just have... If they just had released it like a month later or something, they could have removed the majority of the glitches there was.
People. Yeah, but now currently Fallout 4 works perfect, to me at least. I have encountered a few glitches, but they were more humorous than annoying.
That's good.
For example, I've encountered the same glitch on both Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, and that is the funniest ever.
Okay, that's good.
In Fallout 3 I encountered a Yao guy, and so I grabbed my shotgun and shot at it, and for some reason it flew like 50 meters up in the air.
Well,
And a few weeks ago, the very same thing happened in Fallout 4. I shoot at a Yaga with my shotgun, and it freaking flies 50 meters up in the air. I'm not even joking. I encountered the same funny glitch, and I was so happy.
That's good. You enjoy it? I once played a game where that wasn't a glitch. Like
Huh?
like literally, it was a game I played where what happened was it wasn't a glitch that the guy flew 50 meters up into the air and such. It wasn't a glitch, but it was on purpose, you know.
Like, why?
Well,
What?
I think it was Borderlands the pre-sequel where the gravity's really low and I shot a guy on point blank with a torque shotgun. So,
Oh,
he went
it's
flying.
Borderlands. Then I get it.
Yeah. That game, I think, Borderlands the pre-sequel, I got really mixed opinion on the two games, like Borderlands and Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel. I got a little mixed feelings.
I've only played Borderlands 2, and it's one of my favorite games on PS3.
I have it on Steam, and it is one of my favorite games. But the thing is, I'm kinda meh with it, with what, and not meh with it. I just have a few. The thing is, when I have to compare it to Borderlands the sequel, Borderlands 2,
Pre-sequel.
Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel. When I compare those two to each other, I think there's a kind of strange synergy going on where one side has what the other side is lacking, but vice versa. One side lacks what the other one has.
Kind of like Xbox and PS.
Yeah, kinda. There is the storyline is best in the sequel, and the characters are most interesting in the sequel. But I like the combat more in the pre-sequel because mobility is a little bit easier, and most characters are more durable. And as you probably know by now, I like durable characters. They're fun to play as. And
I kind of like the challenge in Borderlands 2 that you're not invincible. You can take a lot of beatings, but when you really need to, take cover.
yeah,
I lost the words there. Damn it.
yeah, but I still feel like I have more fun when I play as a character who can really take a punch before they go down. That's why I play as Krieg most of the time in Borderlands 2. But,
Isn't that the Psycho?
yeah, the Psycho, he's one of the most tanky characters in that game. Like, literally, you can
And
go...
unless I'm wrong, he can only use melee weapons.
only in his ulti. He can use regular weapons when he's, running around and such. Like, his special ability is that he goes into a berserker rage and starts to get a lot of melee damage and such. But the thing is, he has so many self-damage abilities, but he has so many damage reduction abilities on himself that he can resist quite a lot of damage before he dies.
Hmm.
And that makes him really fun to play as, in my opinion, at the very least. Like I said, I really enjoy characters who can really take a punch before they die.
Yes.
So, but the thing is, there is one thing I dislike about the pre-sequel, and I don't know if I'm alone about this, and that is the pre-sequel has made a lot of people sympathetic to Handsome Jack. The Borderlands community has gotten a lot of people lately who is now starting to say that Handsome Jack is not the villain in this game. He's in fact the good guy, and we killed the good guy in Borderlands 2, right? And I'm pretty much blaming game theorists for this, stating that he has borderline personality. If you've seen Game Theorist movie about it, or if you haven't, it's where he starts to state that the Handsome Jack actually has borderline personality disorder and has been abused and all these kinds of things, right? The thing is, if I'm allowed to rant about this a little bit, is that when you then start playing the game, right? And when you're starting to play the sequel, right? After you've played like the pre-sequel and all of this, right? You then have to start hearing, like, because I understand why, but the thing is, how do you explain this? Okay, let's take a look at some of them, seeing if he's a good guy. If you go to the wildlife preservation wildlife exploitation preserve
Yeah, I know that one. Where you
where
can hear all those human tests.
all those human test subjects and how he
Up,
is.
up, up, up. I'm not hearing anyone screaming.
Yeah, basically that one, and the fact that he's forcibly injecting them. There's not even any research involved or anything. He just wants people to be pumped full of iridium, essentially. There's
Yeah.
one. There's one.
And there was also that loudspeaker thing where Jack at first talks very peacefully, like how you're working for a better future for the company. And what? Why are you making me read this crap? We know they're gonna torture and mutate them. Why lie?
Yeah.
Then it cuts out.
Yeah, that thing is also another thing. And then there's if you go to the city of Opportunity, right? There's literally a loudspeaker that at one point says, Handsome Jack has been telling that the statues have gotten his chin wrong. And also, I am to report that anyone who's taken more than 5 minutes off the past 2 weeks will be shot. So we're coming around with a hammer and chisel and a firing squad. Like, as funny as that sounds, right?
It's very brutal.
It's very, very brutal. There's also this one. From Handsome Jack himself. Did you know that littering in Opportunity is punishable by death? Did you also
everything is punishable by death to him?
And did you also know that that complaining about Opportunity's loss is considered verbal littering? Like literally. That's what he says.
Yeah. God damn it.
And there was also the fact that he has his own child hooked up to a supercomputer, forces her to be pumped full of drugs, and manipulate people at the same time.
Not really drugs, but that element called iridium.
It's basically drugs because her body now depends on it. And at the same time forces her to commit mass genocide and manipulate people. And then there's also this about, well, what about in the pre-sequel, was he bad there? Well, again, let's take a look at the sequel. There's actually a side quest where Mad Moxie tells that she dated Handsome Jack until he killed a bus full of innocent people. And if you play the pre-sequel, and Mad Moxie's also involved here in this, right? This has happened after that. So basically, Handsome Jack has already at this point killed people just for the just because he could. And there's also a scene where he ejects this bunch of scientists who's been helping him through an airlock because he's kinda scared that one of them is a traitor.
So he doesn't take any chances and kills everyone.
And then essentially kills his entire scientist staff. And after they're done doing everything, after they're done helping him, getting Helio space station unlocked and all of that, he basically just kills them all.
That sounds a lot like Half-Life 1.
Yeah, but what can we then basically conclude about this guy?
Jack's an asshole.
Yeah, basically. And the thing is, you can also hear, there's actually also a quote in Borderlands, the pre-sequel from Mad Moxie again, where she says, you know what, you deserve what you have coming, you power-hungry psychopath! Because you see, already there he was mentally unstable. And I could go on saying all kinds of bad things he's done and such, but still, you know what I like about Handsome Jack?
He's rich.
No, do you know what I like about him, specifically?
He
is one of the only villains I have ever played against who I didn't feel sympathetic for and who I could kill with a clean conscience. He's literally one of the only people in existence in a video game that I personally have just felt, nah, you're gonna die, pal.
Yes, I feel that way.
I mean, sometimes I feel kind of sorry for people I have to kill and such in video games and such, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want to kill this guy, but I guess I have no choice. And You know, and I tend to be the friendly guy in RPG games and such. But
Well, there's one other guy that I didn't feel sympathetic for when killing.
oh,
Kellogg from Fallout 4.
remember I haven't played that game, so I don't know who you're talking about.
Sorry for the spoilers there, kids.
Hey, you barely said anything. But yeah.
Yeah, but Jack is really mean.
Yeah.
Another thing I thought about Borderlands is the people you're playing. Are you even heroes? I mean, you play as crazy people walking around shooting people and enjoying it.
Depends on who you are, like on which ones of them you're talking about, right? Like there are those
I've only
guys.
played as the commander in Borderlands 2.
Yeah, he's more. I mean, if you read like their lore and such, but the thing is, there is a more definitive good guy. Like there is what's that guy's name again?
Zero?
Not
Salvador?
no. It's one of the guy. It's Roland. I mean, we can both conclude Roland is a good guy.
Yeah. I
And
mean, almost everyone besides Rick of the old gang are good.
more or less. On the other hand, but they're mostly anti-heroes, Like
Yeah.
they all have some kind of redeeming factor about them. They're kind of, they're not necessarily the heroes we deserve, but they're like the,
They'll do.
but they're the assholes we need. They're that kind of, they're those kinds of
Nailed
characters.
it.
They're those
Nailed
kinds
it.
of characters. So, yeah, there's that. But then there's a Salvador, right? I mean, he if you hear like the voice logs from him, right? It's about where he's about to be hung after killing a large group of bandits, right? And do you have anything else to say about it? It was fun. Wait a minute, you're saying it was fun? I mean, what? It's always fun to kill bad guys. I mean, that's essentially him. Like, he is the type of guy who kills because it's fun, but he only kills, baddies. So, I mean, that's what there is with most people in this game, in those games, is they kill baddies, but only because, like, they do it. Like, and then there's more then in the pre-sequel, you get to play as some more definitive bad guys, You get to play as Nisha, for instance. She kills because she enjoys killing. Not much else, really.
And the commando, Axon was his name.
Axton, right?
Is he somewhat of a bad guy? The commando, I mean, he was dishonorably discharged for blowing up an entire base or something with a hostage inside.
With hostages inside, yeah, because the reason why he was dishonorably discharged was because he was chasing personal glory over, the mission, the real mission. So
and the fact that he killed innocent people to do it.
Yeah. He's also the guy with the lowest wanting rate. Everyone has a wanted poster, right? He has the lowest in the franchise.
Yep.
So he's got that going for him. And
wasn't like one of his crimes tax fraud or something?
I think it was just war crimes, really. But
doesn't Salvador has the longest list of offenses?
Yeah, but he's not the one with the highest
It's like murder.
Murder. I think it's
attempted murder, insulting Jack.
Hold on a sec. It's his crimes list, if I remember correctly, right? It's public indecency, torture, murder, manslaughter, cannibalism, arson, and public profanity. I think that's the ones I can remember at the top of my head. I think it's also something like.
What? Let me look it up.
Alright, you look that up while I continue adding some melee weapons here. Are you kidding me? This is it's one of the. I'm looking at one of the add-ons. There was Night of the Living Dead pack, right? There's one of the melee weapons here, right? It's a pickaxe, right? It's a paper roll.
What?
Like literally, I'm staring at it right now. It's
the Walking Dead props.
No, Night of the Living Dead.
What the fuck?
I mean, this is literally a melee weapon. I think it looks like the Constitution of America rolled up, and it's a melee weapon skin.
What?
Yeah, exactly. What?
Oh wait, I gotta wait for to see it.
I think I'm at it right now. Hey, we got 4 people watching. That's a record.
Yeah, I see it. I think I see it now.
This is a
What?
melee weapon. This is a reskin melee weapon.
How is that thing supposed to kill one? Does he kill bad guys with democracy?
I don't know. You could strangle someone with it. I think.
Hate democracy, you're royalists.
Royalists. All right. All right. Let's continue, shall we? Got derailed there for a few seconds. But yeah, I think if I remember correctly, in Borderlands 2, right, the guy who has the highest price for getting him right is Creek, the Psycho. He has the highest reward. I think it's something like
he's a psycho.
yeah, Creek the Psycho, and
You see.
it specifically says because she's property of Hyperion. There are actually some people who believe that the Creek is actually a playable character in both the pre-sequel and Borderlands 2.
Hmm?
Because in Borderlands 2 he's Creek the Psycho, right? But there's some people because Handsome Jack has a doppelganger. There's a doppelganger class, right? That's essentially Handsome Jack's doppelganger, right?
Hmm?
Some people believe that's actually Creek before he became Creek. Before he went completely mad, he was Handsome Jack's doppelganger, and that's why he wears a mask. There's actually some people who
I thought he wore a mask because he was a psycho, and psychos in Borderlands wear masks.
Yeah, but some people claim that the reason why he's wearing that mask is because so people won't see that he's actually Handsome Jack's doppelganger. But I mean, it's speculation. It's a theory, nothing else really. It's just another crazy fan theory. But I kind of like the theory actually. I think it fits. I think it fits him pretty well. Alrighty. This is nice though. Just me continuously adding to the insanely high amounts of melee weapons that is stuck to the wall.
More. He needs more. It has to be perfect. He needs more.
You're still searching for that or that thing from before, or did you give
I
up?
was just commenting what you said.
Yeah, but
Adding so much melee weapons.
it's just you're still searching for exactly what Salvador was wanted for, or did you give up on that?
Oh, I found it a few minutes ago. Now I'm just looking for add-ons in the workshop.
So, what exactly was the list specifically of things he was wanted for?
Everything you said.
I didn't miss any of them out.
Nope.
Ah, that's funny.
At least from what I read.
Okay. That's good, I guess. If I remember correctly, one of the funny things about Borderlands is that Gage, the Necromancer, right? She is wanted for illegal creation of robotics and adorable cuteness, excessive amounts of cuteness. It's one of the things she's wanted for. Gotta love Borderlands humor. Oh, yeah, by the way, about the pre-sequel, right, there's one thing I dislike about it, and I don't know if it's just because I'm nitpicking, but there's one thing I really dislike. You know what that is? About 80% of everyone in that game has an Australian accent.
It isn't because most of the people voice acting are Australian.
Yeah, but it's like 80% of people who were on who has voice acting in that game, they had an Australian accent.
I don't see that as a problem if it's an Australian game.
It gets tiring really, really fast.
Yeah, not for me. I've been watching a lot of seasons of Bondi Beach Rescue, so...
Like, I just think it's irritating. Like, it gets tiring because most of them has a really stereotypical Cockney accent. And, and that's something you get tired of pretty fast. Let me tell you that. But yeah, it's an okay game. You know, it's a good game. It has a lot of the things that the previous one lacks, but it lacks a lot of what the previous one had. Which is kind of odd, you know.
Yep.
So you can't really say that they improved, but you can't at the same time say that they went in the wrong direction.
From what I heard, the game actually flopped financially.
Yeah, I can imagine that. There was a lot of people who didn't like it.
I'm serious, like so big that the company went bankrupt or something, if I'm not mistaken. Like something with the Australian part of the company, at least.
I can imagine that. But then again, I'm not that surprised, because, like, one of the things it lacked really was it lacked the humor of its predecessors. The humor
Ooh,
wasn't...
missing the humor, that's bad.
The humor in it is okay sometimes, but it's not really that good compared to the previous ones.
Borderlands 2.
Compared to the previous games, it really lacked on humor. That's what I think about it at the very least, and the characters wasn't that interesting. This is really frustrating. I can't remove his glasses.
Shit.
Like, it would
Well,
be really, it would be
there
really
was
nice.
one model, I know, where you could remove the glasses, but it's non-HVM.
Yeah. Probably. Let's see here. Gun pack, pouch, bullets, come on, come on. Metal bone, or... Come on, it should be around here somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where
The
is
glasses
it?
left model?
No, it's, it should... Okay, let's try something else. The good old-fashioned sub-material tool. It sometimes work.
It worked last time.
Okay, I can make the lenses transparent. Apparently. That's a start, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, all right. We'll think about that a little bit later if there's anything else to work on.
Yeah, I can see it now. They're transparent.
That's good. Maybe I should use the eyes add-on and give him some different colored eyes.
There's a perfect add-on for that, actually.
Yeah, there
It's
is.
called
Yeah, it's
that add-on with a bunch of eyes.
yeah. It's I already got that one installed.
Try giving him the red eyes.
Yeah, maybe, like, we'll take a look at that. Right now, we're gonna continue on what we've been doing for the past while, and that is to add melee weapons. And organize them at the same time.
Add more katana.
I wonder if we should play some really inappropriate music right now or something like that. But we would probably
I
get...
know one type of music that would be inappropriate.
What was that?
Crazy Buzz.
Don't know what that is.
Have you... Oh my god. I don't know if I should play it, show you it, because... You know, the copyright thing you said last time.
That's the case that I prefer if we didn't play anything that has copyright on it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, James Rolfe did it in his AVGN episodes.
Yeah. You know, but it was just, I was just thinking for a moment because I remembered some marching music I heard a while back, like... What if we put like marching music on? That would be, and we were doing something like this. It would just be weird. But yeah, that's something we could never do. My cousin was once singing on a stream, right? And he was then saying, well, he's afraid that my streams might be taken down because of copyright. The thing is, I'm pretty sure that you can't get your channel taken down for singing something like that. For singing with like a... Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure that the only ones who would ever do something like that would be Nintendo. Like, they're the only ones I can think of at the top of my head who would take down a channel because of that. Literally.
Have they done it?
What?
Have they done it?
I don't think they have, but I mean, it's Nintendo, right? They are they are more or less insane, really. Like, they have taken down a lot of channels for tiny reasons that basically no one would. It's something
A
pretty...
teeny tiny reason. Taking it
it's,
down for the teeny tiny reason.
I think it's something that they started monetizing, the monetization. They started putting monetization on on reviews on their games, where they had to get money for ads played on those game reviews.
Ugh.
Like, literally.
Money,
How-
money, 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 money,
How
money.
on earth
Always
could you
about
do...
the money.
Like, I mean, it's a case that these guys are here supposed to, like, these reviewers are, like, supposed to give your game some critiquing and such, and, like, tell what you did right and wrong and such, and, like, help the consumer a little bit, and then you go in and just take some of their money just like that. Like, how many companies on the planet would seriously do something like that? Like, even
McDonald's.
what? Like, even Microsoft wouldn't do something like that. And they have shut down websites illegally. Like, seriously.
Well, Bill Gates, the owner, has been arrested once, so
I'm just sitting here thinking, who on earth would do something as dumb as that?
people who are greedy as hell.
Well, I mean, I suppose that was like the Fine brothers who tried to marketize, reaction videos.
That was stupid.
Yeah. What's your opinion on reaction videos, by the way?
A bit mixed. I used to watch them, but I got tired of them.
I don't really watch that many reaction videos. I usually watch people's reactions to various Garry Smart machinimas and such, because if I'm getting kind of tired of watching a specific movie or such, I think it's kind of funny to sit and watch how other people act. Because some people, they have like overreactions to it and something, then their facial expression gets really funny to look at. I watch that every once in a while when I'm really...
when it comes to facial expressions, I
Yeah,
love
it becomes
Markiplier react to things.
Yeah, it becomes like their facial expressions and their commentaries on it that gets really interesting. And then I can also see, because since almost no one ever comments on my stuff, and whenever they do, it's usually the same things. When I see other people commenting on something, I can see what really catches people's attention, and I can try to apply that to my stuff.
Nice.
So that's why I occasionally watch it. I think I'm okay with reaction videos. It's not
Yeah,
something...
What the Fine Brothers did, that's not okay.
Yeah, that's not okay.
They tried to copyright a very commonly used term they didn't invent.
Yeah, I heard Sony they wanted to get get the marketization on Let's Play. They wanted to make that a specific term they were only allowed to use.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, but what I think about it is, what most people, they did of course not do this, but what some people are actually thinking is that they wanted this to be something specific, like it was supposed to be it was supposed to be a fancy name for some new multiplayer thing they were doing, and they wanted it to be Let's Play, but I mean, that was because you also have to remember Sony is a Japanese company. So maybe Let's Plays and such, are actually named something else in Japan. So they didn't think about the fact that it was actually called, Dark Souls, for instance. That had their names changed had its original name changed 5 times over because of copyright issues.
Ouch.
And other issues. It was supposed to
Yeah,
be
but I think you're right on a bit.
So I think it was a case where they were trying to do some kind of some kind of multiplayer thingy or something like that, and they just didn't realize that it was actually a huge thing.
I can understand it with that thing, but with the Fine Brothers, they just wanted to monopolize on a very common term they didn't invent.
Well, they kind of invented it. Like, reaction videos weren't really that big until the Fine Brothers got along.
They still didn't invent it.
They didn't invent it, but they managed to make it a big thing. But
Like Markiplier made Five Nights at Freddy's big.
I don't think he was the only one. PewDiePie also did it.
Yeah, but I've heard that Markiplier has been given a lot of credit for the game's success.
Yeah. In that case, so we have to blame him for making this game popular. Ah,
Well, there's one positive thing that has come out of this game.
what's that?
His dog Chica.
What?
Markiplier's dog.
Ah,
I
okay.
think Chica is a good name for a dog.
It's a nice game. It's a nice name, I guess. But you know, I'm with all Five Nights at Freddy's things. I'm not that interested because I don't play horror games. Like I've played one true horror game in my lifetime, and I didn't enjoy it. But that's because of gameplay.
Amnesia?
No, I haven't played Amnesia. I played Alien Isolation. That game was hard, so it was almost impossible. But I also went in and played that just after I had finished playing the DLC to BioShock Infinite.
I don't have Bioshock Infinite for some reason.
Yeah, but the DLC called Burial at Sea, Episode 2, right?
Yeah?
It is which also happens to be the most depressing game I've ever played.
Yeah, you've said that before.
Yeah, which but anyhow, this game. What happened was I had just finished playing that game, and this was a stealth game, you know, where you had to like sneak around and gather resources and such, right? Then I started playing Alien Isolation, which was 20 times harder, and also had this little irritating game mechanic I really, really hated.
What?
The NPCs that was patrolling the area, right? They were completely unpredictable. Like in most of those stealth games, right? You can like see where these guys are moving around and such, right? And then you can like sort of guesstimate where, and you can like calculate in your head where you have to move and such in order to survive, right?
Yeah?
You can't do that in Alien Isolation. I tried.
I'd call that realistic then.
Yeah, it's a little bit of realism in it. It's also because it's retrofuturist. I enjoyed it for a while because it was like because I'm a fan of the Alien franchise, and I really liked the fact that this was essentially like being in one of the Alien movies. It was that good. It was that well made.
Nice.
And I liked that. It was really, really good, but I just couldn't get past the gameplay. I had it on the lowest possible setting of difficulty, and I couldn't get that far in it. I got like through the first act, and then nothing else, because the game doesn't tell you anything. It barely tells you anything. You have to play through the same area several times over before you know a somewhat decent idea on what you can do in order to survive.
Oh.
It's so difficult. Like, I didn't know, for instance, what way I had to run in order to escape a bunch of thugs early on. But then I found out of it the second time I tried it. Like, I died like 4 times while playing it. And it was just really, really difficult. And then again, I'm not a huge fan of horror games. I just don't like playing horror games. That's why I skipped Slender.
I don't like playing horror games per se, but I like watching other people play horror games, so I like watching YouTubers like PewDiePie and Markiplier play horror games.
Well, I don't. I have watched a few people play horror games, and I have watched Markiplier. I've only watched his compilations he did of him playing Five Nights at Freddy's, and that was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
But
there's one game you should see him play. He did a while back, and that was a sci-fi horror called Soma.
Soma?
Yeah. It's a sci-fi horror game, and it's basically the same company that made Amnesia.
I'm not sure that gives me any wish to play that then. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny to see Markiplier play it because he's really fun in those videos.
Okay.
For example, there's one robot he keeps running into when he played Soma, because it's a sci-fi horror, so there are robots in it. And there was one little robot he kept running into, and he kept calling it Bubble Butt. And you'll understand if you see it.
Is it because it makes bubbles, or...?
No, because It basically looked like the rear of Nicki Minaj.
Alright. Well, I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing.
All I know is that Markiplier is funny there.
Good thing then.
And the thing is, when he gets stressed, it sounds really funny because he gets that high tone that is slow at the same time. Because Markiplier's voice is quite special.
Yeah. I'm always kind of wondering, whenever I see Markiplier's movies, I wonder how on earth does a guy who plays video games for a living stay in that good shape?
He's actually answered that in one of his reading your comments video. And the answer is good genes, actually. He simply has good genes. He's naturally muscular.
Okay.
But he is working out now.
So he is now okay, I suppose. It's just otherwise, most YouTubers you see and such, they tend to be a little overweight when you see
Not
them.
really, actually, according to me. I mean, my favorite YouTubers who play games are thin.
Well,
PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, and who was it more?
I
James
think
Rolfe?
the question is also a little bit about age, but
Yeah.
that's a whole other debate.
You could call JonTron fat, but I call him handsome fat, actually.
He's overweight, I would call him.
He's overweight, but he still looks good, at least according to me.
Yeah, he looks okay. I have a few people who are like that is Total Biscuit and that Jesse Cox. But yeah.
I haven't seen Jesse Cox.
I barely see him as well. Like, the only
Is
reason
that
why
that really, really fat guy or something who has that little beard?
he has I think he's a redhead. You know, he's a bit.
Then I haven't heard of him.
He has a bit gingerish, but he's the only reason why I watch him is because he's a co-host on the Co-optional podcast. That's the only reason I ever see him, because he's one of those guys. He's a guy who does extensively long Let's Plays, and he's the kind of guy who has to do like every detail along the way. Like,
oh my!
He's currently going through The Witcher 3, right? He's up to like 60 episodes of half-hour episodes.
Holy shit!
Yeah, and he's like doing all the side quests and all of this. And he's also known for being every time he plays a video game and he has the opportunity for it, he'll be a dick. Every time.
Oh.
That's part of him, is that he's essentially trying his best to be a dick in every game he plays.
Should be easy in The Walking Dead then.
Yeah. The only game I've actually ever on purpose been the bad guy, right? That was one time when I played BioShock 2. Because I really wanted to get a achievement for completing BioShock 2 in one life, you know, never using any respawn, right? And I couldn't really do that at the time with at the time I played that game a lot, and I still died at least once whenever I played the good guy. So I thought, okay, then let's play the bad guy instead. I get enough.
I think I've completed the game 3 times in a row without dying.
I think I've also completed a couple of times without dying, but yeah, I then decided, you know what, I'm gonna play this game, and I'm just gonna be a bad guy, and then I'm gonna win and get that.
I think it's fun just trying that at once. I mean, it's just a game.
Yeah, but I didn't really feel good about it. Afterwards, I didn't really feel good about it, because a few months later, when I decided to play through that game again, I played on as a good guy, and then I beat the game without dying as well. Yeah, that was like, wait, I actually could do that? Huh. But then a little while after that, I then played again and then completed again without dying as a good guy, and then I did like once more where I died once. So yeah, there's that.
I think it's quite easy to survive on Bioshock if you just know how to do. Or how do I say it? Know what to do.
Yeah, Bioshock 2,
Having good tactics and such.
my favorite combo is one that's only available doing a small fraction of the game, but it's still really fun to do.
What?
It's Telekinesis 3 and a shotgun. With Telekinesis 3 you can pick up lightweight enemies, and then a fully upgraded shotgun, right? You then pull people that's like 30 meters away from you, close to you, drop them on the ground and shoot them in the back. It insta-kills every low HP, every lightweight character. Like every character you can pick up, you can basically insta-kill.
Nice. My favorite is that drill charge you can make.
That's a lot of fun to do as well.
You know, use the electro bolt so they stand still and then charge.
I do that for a large part of the early game, but when I get Telekinesis 3 and I have a fully upgraded shotgun, the best thing I just do is I just walk around, grab people, and shoot them. It's really, really strong.
Yes.
It insta-kills basically everything because it almost guarantees you that you can meat shot the enemy, like shoot them on point blank. It is a lot of fun.
It is not a fun killing people.
What? What did you say?
It is not a fun killing people.
All right then. I once encountered a mod for Team Fortress 2, right? It's called the Randomtastic Sound mod.
Mm-hmm.
It's where all the sounds are replaced with, where almost all sounds are replaced with something that's completely inappropriate and like doesn't make any sense at all. Like the Übercharge, right? Übercharge song plays German folk music. Something like that. Basically, I mean, not no one's singing, but it like plays music. It like plays music. It doesn't play anyone singing, but it plays music. Like whenever you use an Übercharge, and every time you get a crit, there is a guy who screams "Why?" And all of Spy's handguns, right? They sound like bones breaking. Yeah, exactly. But it's I downloaded that a while back to get some sound effects for one of my movies.
I don't even know how to install mods.
It got complicated a while back. Or rather, it got uncomplicated a while back, where they decided to add a system to make it easy to install and uninstall mods.
Well, it's complicated.
It's you just have to.
I seriously don't know how to do. I tried to install. What was it? Some mod for Fallout 4. I think it was something with cars. What was it?
Well, I think with that game, it's a little bit tricky. But with Team Fortress 2, they have a system installed that makes it a little easier to install mods.
Oh.
But like, I don't know all that much about it. Alrighty.
I didn't even know there was mods for Team Fortress 2.
You didn't know there was mods for Team Fortress 2?
Oh wait, yes I do. God damn it. Sorry. Memory like a goldfish.
Yeah. Okay.
God damn it! I watched a mod last week. God damn it. Me too.
That's okay. We all forget something.
Memory like a fucking goldfish.
Yeah. Then there's me. I got selective memory. I can remember some things really easily, but I can't. But there are so many things that are actually important that I can't remember. It's freaking annoying.
I can remember certain things. I mean, I rarely forget when it comes to history.
That's good.
Because I'm a self-proclaimed history nerd.
That's good. I can also
You know
remember.
what my history teacher sometimes said?
No. What did he
Does
say?
anyone but me know? Yes, if anyone besides me knew the answer of the question. Because around that time in school we were at World War II. And I basically knew more than the teacher.
That's kind of nice. You can say that.
I remember several classmates like checking through the history books about World War II to try to find something I didn't know. No one succeeded.
That depends. Like depends on what aspect of it you ask about. Like, if I were to ask you about something like, who was the most successful submarine commander during World War II?
Yeah, that they should have asked me that question.
Shall I tell you?
Yes, please, so I
It's,
can learn.
It's Otto Kretschmeister. He sank about 500,000 tons of ships.
Holy shit!
He's
Let me guess, he died in the war.
no, he actually survived. He's one of the very
What?
few. He's one of the very few German submarine commanders to actually survive.
Sweet.
One of the very, very few. He later also became a submarine commander for NATO.
Hmm.
I'm just going through these heads. Okay,
I see.
That sounded weird. I'm just going through these heads.
Well, there can be worse situations.
And what's that?
I don't know if I can say it here, but imagine that you're going through a room full of footballs. When someone's asking what you're doing, I'm checking my beep. Well, there is one other person in the chat right now. I mean the stream.
Well, I don't know.
I don't think you count because there was only one there a few minutes ago.
Yeah, so
Yes, that one was me.
the question is then, can we see who that is? Hold on.
Nope.
I think I might actually be able to. Let me see.
Let's
You don't have a Twitch account, do you? Hello? Hello?
Me?
Yeah. You don't have a Twitch account, do you?
Nope.
Alright.
Maybe I should get one. Is it free?
It's free to get a Twitch account, yeah. Okay.
Maybe I should then.
I'm gonna be back in 10 seconds. I just need to get some water, okay? It's okay with you?
Sure. So, just you and me, fellow viewer. For now. This would have been easier if Tigerface was here. I don't think I can do anything to entertain you people right now, but let's just wait for the commander to return. In a second now. In a second now. In a second now. In a second. Let me just give you some random facts then. God damn, I can't figure anything out.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, thank God.
What's the matter?
I couldn't find any. I didn't have any ideas to entertain the people while you were gone.
Well then, it's very good I'm back then.
I wanted to give some random facts, but I couldn't think of any random facts.
Or at least any you didn't want to share with me. Doesn't matter.
Well, I have some random facts in my head now that you're here. God damn it.
Well, you could start talking about them if we got nothing else to discuss. Actually, regarding submarines, although the most successful submarine commander during World War II was German, the most successful submarine type to, sink the most tonnage, that was an American submarine. That was the Gato class.
Yeah, wasn't those the U-boats that blocked Japan?
Yeah, they blocked.
Succeeded what Germany failed in.
They destroyed like 80% of all the ships from Japan alone.
I think.
And they also sank Japan's largest aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was like the biggest aircraft carrier Japan had ever built. They sank it. A torpedo sank it from a submarine. That's really cool.
And the biggest battleship in history, the Yamato, was sunk by aircrafts.
Yeah, well that was aircraft, not well, that was aircraft, yeah.
The Yamato. It's a battleship.
Yeah.
The biggest ever made.
I know, I've read a lot about it, and I'm playing a game where it's one of the most desired ships in World of Warships.
There's a game about that?
You don't know World of Warships?
No?
It's kind of like World of Tanks, but on an ocean, and where things are going a bit slower than in World of Tanks. Like, your guns don't aim instantaneously, they aim a little bit slower, and, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call that kind of game realistic then, because battleships barely met each other in World War II.
Yeah, but
in fact, they barely met each other in World War I, because those battleships
I already know that.
Built, they were so big and so powerful that they were too valuable to be lost. They were easily destroyed by the other side's big and bad battleships.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've read a lot about it. It's really sad to read about when you're a guy who likes machines and such. When you read about it, it's really sad to read about.
Yeah, that those big battleships actually were rarely used in combat.
Actually, they were used pretty heavily during World War II.
Yeah, I know, as support, but not as an actual weapon against other ships.
Not against other ships, yeah, but I mean, have you seen, like, if you look at those old footage movies and such, where you see like,
I can see naval guns supporting infantry on beaches and such.
And not only that, but when you look at those images of airplanes getting shot out of the sky, right? All of that flak you see, that's usually from battleships because there's so many guns.
Yep.
They're like a floating battery of airplane killers.
Yep. But still,
like they weren't.
The cost is greater to.
Yeah,
the cost of losing a battleship is still greater than at least 100 aircraft.
Yeah, but I mean, what I meant about it was, World of Warships is actually a pretty realistic representation of what could have happened.
Yep.
In that terms, it's a realistic game, and it's also a lot of fun.
There's a few times that big battleships have actually met in a large-scale combat against each other was the Battle of Toshima in a largely forgotten war, the Russo-Japanese War.
Yeah, there was also, of course, a Battle of Jutland.
Yep.
But that one ended in a tie.
Yep.
Or it was considered an English victory because they had prevented the Germans from doing anything.
Despite that, the British took the heaviest losses.
Yeah, but they kept the. It's also kind of like there was I think it was the Battle of the Coral Sea in World War II, right? That was on paper a draw between Japan and America because Japan and America both lost one one aircraft carrier each, and both lost roughly the same amount of airplanes. But for the Americans, it was actually a victory because they had prevented the Japanese from expanding their territory even further.
And for every carrier the USA lost, they could replace it with 3. Japan could replace them with 0.
Yeah, that was later in the war. They couldn't replace them anymore, but again...
Japan never recovered from the Battle of Midway.
Yeah, I know. That was really the moment where Japan truly had lost, but honestly, I'm not really sure that Japan ever could have won against America.
No. Funny, I actually watched a documentary about Japanese weapons of World War II, and they weren't ready to take on the Allies. Much of their weapons were inadequate and very outdated.
I think it was just a case that even if they had gotten onto the American beaches and such, the Americans would have drowned them, essentially, in lead. Like, literally, they could have, like, maybe it would have been maybe if Japan had, like, successfully destroyed America's fleet, right? Japan would still not have gotten very far.
Yeah, they lacked the proper air support and their armor. Most of their armor, like tanks, were from the 20s.
Yeah, and all of this, like, I don't think Japan could have won if they had won over the Americans. If they'd won over the Americans in the Pacific...
How old Japanese tanks were?
Not exactly.
Many Japanese tanks were outmatched by the Stuart. You know what that is?
Not entirely sure.
It's basically an Allied light tank. And it was barely used in Europe because it was too weak for any of the German panzers. But in the Pacific, that thing was like a beast. And it was a light tank. Wait, let me see if I can get you a pic of it.
Let me just check. I got something here. I got some models from our World of Tanks, right? It's not a particularly good add-on, but I maybe need a few of these models, right? And let me see here. Come on, it's around here somewhere.
M3 Stuart is the name of it, of the tank.
But it's not that one I'm looking for. It was
The T-26?
Okay, here's let's take this one. God damn it.
What?
It was stuck at the floor. I want to show you one of the biggest disappointments in human history. Let me see. Should be a T-34, right? This is a T-34 model, right? I think this is the right one. At the very least. And let me then show you one of the last tanks Germany tried to make. It's called the Mouse.
Isn't that big motherfucker?
It's the one I just spawned, like.
Well, it's remember, it's a bit delayed.
Yeah, but I like spawn. I have like over here we have like I think actually this might be an extra large version of the T-34, but anyway, this is the T-34 and this is the Mouse. Like literally.
Wait a bit so I can catch up.
Yeah. Hold on.
I don't think it was a T-34 you spawned there. I think that's an American Pershing.
It says T-34 here.
Huh.
Yeah, but either way, if I just like scroll right down next to this thing,
Doesn't
this
look
was
like a T-34 to me.
yeah, but this thing I'm standing next to right now, right? That's a Mouse, and it was like 4 times larger than it was like 4 times heavier than a Tiger II, and it was like 2 meters taller.
From what I heard, they never actually used it in combat.
No, they had it in testing stages, right? Saw
Yeah.
a documentary with it, right? And it was actually downscaled drastically doing construction. Because the original plans was to build a tank that was so big it had battlecruiser cannons on.
Yeah, I read about that one, but the thing is, those tanks are horribly impractical if you think about it.
Yeah, but
They would shred up the roads and use up way more fuel than Germany had access to.
this one, the Mouse, right? it burned 4 metric liters of fuel every 200 meters it drove. 4
That's like
liters.
what the Sherman drank in like 5 miles.
Yeah, but it was like 4 liters of gasoline every 200 meters it drove. And here's the
Highly unpractical.
And here's the thing.
Especially since Germany was struggling with fuel problems since day one.
Yeah. Actually, there's a thing about this one. You know how this thing was so heavy they could never cross a bridge with this thing, right? You know how they would cross a bridge with a mouse?
No?
They would have 2 mouses linked up to each other with a cable. And then this mouse would like go into the water with a snorkel stuck above it, so it could draw in oxygen, and then drive along the bottom to the other side and then up.
You know what you just described?
No.
Operation Sea Lion. The Germans had a plan that they would use their panzers, have them drive over the English Channel to invade England by basically putting a giant snorkel on the tank. They wanted to do that.
That canal is like 40 meters deep.
I know. Well, gotta give him credit for creativity.
I guess that's one
Well,
good thing.
everyone tries funny weapons sometimes. I've read about weird weapons. The Allies did so too.
Yeah.
But you know what was the difference?
What?
The crazy weapons the Allied made works. The Allies during the war made a series of inventions called the funnies because they were so hilarious looking and so weird that they were literally clownish. But the thing is, those war weapons worked.
Yeah, one of them I remember was a tank that had its machine gun replaced with a flamethrower. It could fire 112 meter long flame.
And another was that minesweeper that was put in front of Sherman tanks, which was basically a roll thing with a bunch of chains attached to it, and it became the perfect minesweeper.
Yeah. There was another weird thing that the Germany tried, right? It was this micro tank that was like
The Goliath.
yeah, I think it was called the Goliath. I'm not sure. It was like really small. It was a remote control tank with a 100-kilogram bomb that was designed to take
that was
out
the Goliath. There was just one problem with that thing.
It drove like 2 meters every 5 minutes or something like that.
No, it was faster than that actually.
I don't know. I swear
And it was used fairly effective, but the problem was that those things were expensive as hell to make.
There was another one where they strapped bombs to dogs and trained them to run.
That was the Russians.
Yeah, but you know that's kind of funny. That's actually kind of funny. The Russians trained dogs to destroy tanks, and the Japanese trained people to destroy tanks.
You know why
and
the Russian dog thing failed?
Why?
When the Russians used the dogs to train on destroying tanks by running under them, they didn't think of using enemy tanks, so the dogs were trained to use it on Russian tanks. So when the dogs were used in combat, they ran under Russian tanks.
That's perfect.
And I heard one weird idea where there was some kind of designer who proposed to Winston Churchill about an aircraft carrier made of ice.
Oh yeah, that one's actually it was actually when I read about it was aircraft carrier that was made of ice, and then they suggested they would take ice and mix it with sawdust, and then take water and mix it with sawdust. And the good thing about this thing was, if they stayed in the northern part of the sea, right, they could make a carrier that was 6 kilometers long and 2 kilometers wide.
And unsinkable.
And yeah, and 100% unsinkable. That would actually be an advantage because, I mean, you could shoot this thing with 1,000 torpedoes and it still wouldn't sink.
Yep.
Like literally. But the thing is, and they actually did make this into the planning stages and such, and the conceptual
I know,
stage.
I read about it. It's in one of my prescribed history comics I get every month.
Yeah, but the thing is, the only thing there is about this whole Pike Creek thing was that you couldn't use it anywhere but there, and it just proved to be too expensive and too impractical.
Yep.
Like if the war had dragged on for like 10 years more or something like that, right?
Mm.
Then maybe they would
Yeah.
have done it. Like, as a maybe. A very sketchy maybe. Because the principle behind it was actually pretty good.
Yes.
When you think about it.
It's practical and genius on the blueprint, not so practical in reality.
Actually, there's someone who's tried something similar in reality.
Yeah, but you know, some things look really good on paper. When it's used in the field, it's very less it's very less practical.
Yeah, the thing I'm thinking about is that Mythbusters actually tried to make a boat out of Pike Creek, as it was called. You know, sawdust and ice. They actually tried to do that. They made it. No, they did. No, they made it with. No, they made it with newspaper instead. With frozen newspaper. But you know, it actually worked pretty well for a while. Like the place
Till it
they.
melted.
It kind of melted. Like it started to fall apart, but it was because it was too warm. The place they had taken it. But yeah, a ship made out of sawdust wasn't such a bad thing.
Another weird invention that was almost passed was the bat bomb. Basically, bats bombing cities.
I think I actually heard about this. There was something like a bat that was supposed to be sent into places like Tokyo and such, where there was like
Yes.
who had like a
Fire bombs.
firebombs, yeah, strapped to their firebombs strapped to them and such, but it was never truly carried out because it proved to be too expensive.
Not from what I read in my comic, it was actually the fact that the war ended before they could pull it through.
That's also
That's
possible.
what I read in my comics, at least.
I'm not 100% sure about it. I read a little thing or two about it. But there was also the thing that it was something that was really, really impractical to
What?
do. Like, the thing is, the bats would take too long to, like, breed and such, and it was just easier to just have firebombs on airplanes.
Yep.
It was just cheaper and faster, and they could carry much bigger
Oh
weight.
shit.
What?
It would be like, is it easier to just swing a hammer at someone? Or should I train this horse to swing it for me?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, you know.
Yeah, but,
It's the old question about practicality.
well, if you want to talk about practicality, you shouldn't ask the designers for the Japanese
hold on a
weapons
second.
in World War II.
Ah, my cousin is apparently on. It says see Dragonborn. Hey, Lucas.
Hello!
He's apparently on. What's up? Just me and Samurai playing Gmod. Having a bit of fun. Ah, but you were saying?
Well, Japanese weapons in World War II were, as I said already, impractical and outdated, and some were horribly overcomplicated. There was this one machine gun that is the weirdest I've seen. It's called the Type 11, I think. And it was basically a machine gun you loaded with 5 round stripper clips continuously.
5 rounds.
Basically, you open a small box beside it and put in a bunch of 5 round stripper clips, Arisaka, closed it, and then fired. And that thing was very overly complicated.
I can imagine.
That machine gun had more than 30 parts, and that's a lot for a weapon.
Yeah.
And it was extremely fragile, and that was very typical with some of the weapons, at least the ones designed by Nikita Nambu.
They should probably have fired that guy.
Yeah, he had a very bad tendency of making overly complicated weapons. This would maybe have been a problem if they had the, how do I say it? the resources America had, but Japan had barely any resources at all well, since the start actually. I mean, they withdrew several coins just to get copper.
Yeah.
And their industry was quite primitive too, so...
Well, the thing is, they kind of brought that on themselves, because what happened was, when they decided to do their imperial expansion, right? Like, the reason why they attacked Pearl Harbor was because the Americans had boycotted them from resources. Yep. But the reason why Americans boycotted them was because they aggressively invaded China and all these other places. So I kind of say they did bring that on themselves, really.
Yep, and they weren't fully prepared for war with America, but you can blame that on a victory disease. They were so used to winning, so they didn't really realize they could lose.
I think what they did was they just thought the same thing that Germany thought when Germany invaded Russia. That if they used their resources correctly, they could win, despite the fact that the opposite side had a lot more resources available. But unlike in the Germans' case, the Americans had actually good gear.
Yep.
And
the Germans had some of the best weapons in World War II.
Yeah. At least early on. Like, later on, things just didn't go particularly well. Like, the Tigers and such was just overly large and could be destroyed. Really
well, the Tigers were fairly good. At least the Tiger 1.
Yeah.
That was a real tank.
Yeah,
and
that
it was fairly good at the start, but it was just that they couldn't produce enough Tigers.
Yeah, plus that after America saw that these tanks were there, right? They just built the Firefly, and that was essentially the death stroke for the Tigers was the Fireflies.
And the Russians produced the IS-2, also nicknamed the Joseph Stalin.
What did that do exactly?
It was basically a big motherfucking tank.
Okay.
A tank specifically designed to combat the super tanks of Germany.
The American version of it was just really simple. It's the Firefly, really. I really like the Firefly principle. They take an anti-aircraft cannon and put it on a tank. That was essentially what they did with the Tiger, but instead of doing it the same way that the Germans did, they just took a tank that already existed and put a specialized cannon on top. And the thing about a Firefly was a Firefly about 20 meters away from a Tiger, right, could shoot it at the front, and the shell sometimes would pierce all the way through to the other side of the tank.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
You know what apparently happened in the Battle of Kursk? Apparently in one engagement there, a T-34 drove and rammed a Tiger. You know what happened?
What happened?
Apparently the Tiger collapsed in its own weight.
Damn.
Because the T-34 was built more robust.
There's that. Plus the T-34 had sloped armor, which caused most shells to just fly clean off.
That's why I actually considered the Panther to be the best tank Germany had, because the Panther had exactly sloped armor. They had basically copied the Russian T-34 and made it better.
Yeah.
And the Panther had an okay gun. It could match anything the Allies had.
Until the
and
latest.
it wasn't too overly complicated, and it wasn't too hard to build. So I would actually call the Panther the best tank of the war.
I'm not sure.
The thing with the Panther is it was just too little too late when it came to that tank.
Yeah. The strongest, But yeah, I mean, what I mean about if I may continue with the Firefly, was what happened with the Firefly was that there was a case where I heard about where the greatest tank ace in Germany's history, right? He was killed when a Firefly shot him once, and he was shot in the side, and then his tank just blew up. But it also depends on where you hit it. But this was essentially the Firefly was essentially. If you were a Tiger, right? Let's say that you were a Tiger for a minute, right? And you were essentially a person who's wearing bulletproof armor. What I did was I had a handgun, and I just gave my handgun armor-piercing bullets instead.
Yep.
That was literally what they did. Instead, what the Germans did was we decided, you know what, we build our tanks bigger and more powerful, and the Americans thought we just give a slightly different gun and we're good to go. So
Yeah, Germans basically put all of the money on big and fancy smashy and super expensive body armors, while the Americans just bought a bigger gun.
yeah, essentially. It was also kind of weird,
And
like
the Russians, they just overwhelmed. I mean, for every tank the Germans had, the Russians had 20.
yeah, but that was also because that the T-34 could be produced really, really easily. Like, it was super easy to build the T-34. You know, I've actually heard there were tractor factories who could build T-34s all of a sudden. It was so easy
Yeah,
to
the
build.
tractor factory in Stalingrad did that.
Yeah.
Literally, in the Battle of Stalingrad, during all of these bombings, the tractor factory was still producing tanks that drove straight into combat.
Yeah, that was like literally something like you could do. Like the T-34 was so easy that you could almost set a group of children to build it, and they could build it because it was so simple. It was simple, hard hitting, and it was difficult to kill in one shot.
And speaking of children, in 1945, Japan was in such shambles and such lack of manpower that schoolgirls were producing weapons.
Yeah. That would happen just about anywhere, but... Well, yeah, that's really a case where all kinds of weird things happen.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Germans chose quality over quantity, and that didn't really work. If a Tiger could destroy, what was it, 10 Allied tanks? No big deal, because the Allies had probably 100 more in reserve.
Yeah, and
But the Germans just had that one Tiger.
yeah, and then later on there came suddenly a tank which could actually, like early on when the Tiger came out, right? The Shermans basically, when the Sherman saw a Tiger, right? What they
They
could
had to
do,
run.
yeah, they basically had to run, and most of the time they couldn't even run because they couldn't drive fast enough to avoid the Tiger's gun. And then there
Of
was
course,
also,
it's a freaking tank. What is it?
yeah, and then there was also the case that they just couldn't drive fast enough. Like modern tanks, they can drive like 40 kilometers an hour. Those tanks they couldn't drive. They drove like 20 at best. And
Yep.
a Tiger was accurate up to a kilometer, so you basically couldn't escape it. Like the only case where a regular Sherman could damage a Tiger was to drive behind it and shoot it near its engine. That was the best bet you had at disabling
And
it.
point blank range.
Yeah, and at point blank range. And a Tiger.
Yeah, but one thing the Germans were actually good at by the end of the war was producing weapons to combat tanks.
Yeah,
Now, I'm of course talking about the Panzerfaust,
yeah.
which is probably one of the best anti-tank weapons of the war. I mean, one of those things, one shot from Panzerfaust could penetrate the front armor of a T-34.
Exactly.
And it was so simple to use that children and old men were using it.
Yeah, it's also because like the way they hold it like, but it was like something you hold like you held it like this, like you essentially held it like it essentially had like an iron pipe, and you could hold it between your knees then.
Yep.
And it was also, and the thing is, they also used it at such close range that an accuracy wouldn't be a problem.
Nope.
Actually,
And
there's a
that thing was really cheap to make.
yeah. There was
I
actually
think the Panzerfaust... Oh, sorry, I wasn't finished. I think the Panzerfaust was the only weapon the Volkssturm had plenty of.
probably there was actually a pistol. It was not a pistol. It was what was it?
Flare gun.
I can't
Isn't
remember.
that flare gun that was modified to shoot grenades?
I can't remember. It was not that I was thinking about. It was something else. If you just give me a minute.
1, 2, 3...
Don't
Yeah.
count. Oh yeah, it was regarding. You know why? If you see pictures of images of tanks that's like on the front lines doing World War II and such.
Yeah.
You know why they have locks and such strapped to their side?
Locks?
Yeah, you sometimes when you look at tanks and such, you see sandbags lying on them, and you see wooden locks, you know, trees
Yeah,
that
I
have been
think
cut down.
those were because they were supposed to absorb the blunt of the Panzerfaust.
It was actually supposed to absorb the blunt of anything. Like
Ah.
literally, there's a case. I've heard of cases where Tigers they shot at Sherman tanks, and then the shell would bounce off because it had wood stuck on the side. Like
You know
it would
how...
only work once and wasn't really reliable, but it was because their armor was so poor.
Yep. I think the Russians got even so desperate when it came to the Panzerfaust, they resorted to putting chicken nets on the tanks in hopes that it would absorb the shot and make it explode prematurely.
That was a possibility.
It didn't work, of course, but hey, anything goes.
That was just a case where there's also a case that after World War II, it was actually considered for a while that no one should ever use tanks again because many people said it was impractical to use tanks.
Say that to the Americans in the Gulf War.
Well, it was a case that everyone was starting to think that there was so many anti-tank weapons by now that they thought the tank had really lost it. But modern day large tanks and such, they can absorb RPG rounds easily.
Yeah, I actually was gonna mention one. I found out a really genius way Americans designed their tanks to reflect RPG rounds. You know how?
How?
By literally putting explosive charges on sensitive spots of the tank. Literally putting some explosive charge. Because when the RPG round would hit that sensitive spot, the explosives would go off, and since they weren't designed to be armor piercing, they didn't harm the tank, but they destroyed the round, the RPG round.
That's really nice. It's really clever.
You stop a bomb by using a bomb.
Yeah, there's something called a water disruptor.
What's
That's
that?
it's a large water tank that has a very large bomb inside, and what happens is it creates a shockwave that essentially chokes anything to death. Essentially, it destroys bombs. Essentially,
Oh.
it's a bomb that's designed to choke out bombs. Like it can pulverize a car. It's
Oh
called
my.
it's called.
By the way, don't forget to save now. Now would be a really good time to save.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, dude.
In case it crashes again. Because I would hate to see this crash.
Yeah, me too. I really, really would. And why is Tiger playing a Gmod?
Maybe it's finished now.
I don't think so. It's just he always has Gmod running for some reason. I never understood
Yeah.
why.
Ah, I know. It just takes a lot of time for him to load up everything. He has a lot of, how do I say, add-ons installed manually, and that makes it take a lot of time to load up. I have the same problem too.
Strange.
Not really, considering that all the add-ons have to load.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking why he has that many.
Well, obviously.
Like, I mean,
So he
there's
has a lot of materials to work on, and besides waiting a little while, I see no problem. And sometimes I'll leave my Gmod on all day in case I get some random idea.
I'd never do that. But that's also because I play other games and such. But I never leave my game on because it usually only takes 5 minutes to start it up. Like it
It
takes.
used to do that for me too, but since installing all of the add-ons I have manually, it takes a little longer time.
Well, then uninstall.
And I'm a bit lazy, so I don't wanna shut it down and then restart it again.
I mean, I only start it up whenever I absolutely feel like I have to play something, and I guess it's just the advantage that I actually uninstall mods and such. Like I uninstall mods that I absolutely never use.
I don't do that because I always think that I might actually need to use them one day. And more than one occasion, I've been right.
Well, not in my case. In my case, I'm like, I'm not gonna use this for a long time. So then I uninstall it, and then if I ever need it, I'm just gonna find it on the workshop again.
My foot fell asleep.
Sorry about that. But I don't know if was it my fault about this. I actually had an idea for an image that we had to work on today if this was done really quickly.
What would that be?
It was supposed to be a Legion related image because there was an image that Tigerface did a while back with the Legion, which was a bunch of Legion soldiers that was landing alongside the Heavenly Order and Angelique.
Yes.
That
one was good.
That picture inspired me because Legion is semi-inspired by Space Marines, right?
Warhammer.
Yeah, Warhammer Space Marines. It's semi-inspired. Like, I have a few inspirations from it, but it's not my primary source of inspiration. And the two aren't the same, so...
Of course not, but inspiration and extracting are two different things.
Yeah, then there is a Space Marine...
I mean, do you remember my inspiration for World War 3000?
Was Borderlands.
Exactly, and they're not exactly similar.
Yeah. But the thing is, this, what's it called? I lost it there for a moment. The thing is, this,
Warhammer?
yeah, this, there's this Warhammer Space Marine chapter. That is, there's this Warhammer Space Marine chapter. That is essentially called,
Oh, I see a Gladius.
there's this, Space Marine chapter. That is... There's this Space Marine chapter, right? That's called the Grey Knights. And they're demon specialists. They specialize whenever demonic entities attack and such, right? So then I thought to myself, and when I saw this image that Tigerface had done, why don't the Legion have a supernatural specialist? Some supernatural specialists. You know, some who specialize whenever it's supernatural events, like demonic entities and angelic entities.
No, going against ghosts and goblins and such.
And those sorts of things, you know. So...
And that arm is really still creeping me out.
Yeah, me too. But,
He's looking for his owner. I won't stop until he finds him.
yeah, but anyhow, so I figured we need that. So and then we decided we were gonna work a little bit on that, and now we have a somewhat collectivized backstory for their leader and such. And I figured if we were done with this early, we could start working on a Legion pick.
Ooh.
But we're not
Maybe
gonna.
we can do that next time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but one thing I know about, at least for me, when it comes to Legion, is it's really fun making pictures of them. I've only made one picture of Legion, and it was really fun making it.
That is good. I'm glad you-
I literally, for the 4 hours it took for me to make that picture, yes, it was that fast. I enjoyed every moment of it.
That is good. Alright, let's try to do some... Let's try to
Have
do...
you saved?
Yeah, I have saved, don't worry.
Good.
I saved not too long ago, so...
Oh, now we can breathe out.
Let's see here. It's just, I'm thinking he should be a little bit closer to the camera, like last time, so... Like, he should be around here, I believe.
Now the shield is blocking him a bit. I mean the knife.
Yeah, the knife is blocking him a bit, but I think that's okay.
There we go. I know I'm a bit delayed, but I like what I see so far.
Now, the
That's
thing
a lot
is...
of guns and weapons.
I haven't seen a single gun up there.
I would consider that saw thing with the handle a gun.
Solid thing with a handle?
Never mind.
What? I'm really confused.
I see a bazooka. I see a bazooka.
Oh,
That's
there.
a gun.
Oh, there, over there in the corner. Yeah, I got a bazooka lying around. That's because he's sometimes been seen with a direct hit that was stuffed up with what's it called? With arrows.
I had a spare bazooka just laying around. And by the way, it was on sale. What was I supposed to do?
All right, I'm gonna try and make this even more creepy than it already is. Exactly.
Yes. Make it creepy now. Make it creepy so that people get creeped out.
Indeed.
I think you need to train a bit more on creepy voices.
Indeed. Or maybe something more like this.
You sound like Batman.
Let's see here. That camera's getting in the way. It's kind of thinking more like he has his hand over here, and the knife over here. Ish. Knife over here-ish. He has it over here-ish, you know.
I wonder, is your cousin still watching this?
I don't think so.
I guess I bored him out.
I think he left after a few seconds, to be honest.
Why?
I think he's just a guy who's just like checking it out and seeing how things were going, and maybe he just wasn't interested in what we were talking about. I think that's what most people who watch this does. They just leave after.
Maybe I just scared them off.
I don't think so. Like, this happens also when most people, they go on my streams, they're there for a few seconds and then they just vanish.
Let me tell them a story. This is my story. There once was a little boy who cried wolf. Did it work?
I don't know.
Mm.
There was also once a boy who cried titties, and then he got kicked out of the swimming hall.
I've seen this hilarious fail video where there's this child that knocks on the door when the guy opens. There's a little kid sitting there.
Can I pet your titties?
Can I pet your titties?
Exactly, but what the boy actually meant was your kitties. But since he was a little child, he got the words mixed up.
That's hilarious.
I think you can find it on Fail Army.
Possibly. I don't watch fail movies anymore.
I do.
I used to watch them all the time, but nowadays I'm like, eh.
I never get tired of them.
Good for you.
If you want a bit of a mixture of fails, wins, and what the fuck, then I recommend that French fail channel called Les Espions.
The Subdispion?
Yep, it's a French channel. And it sort of has a compilations mixture of fails, wins, and what the fuck.
Okay, we're a little out of luck here.
Why?
It was just, yeah, the sniper model doesn't have a tongue model.
Shit.
Too bad. Oh well. There is one.
Isn't there any way to get a tongue model? Maybe there's a tongue model in the workshop or something.
There's one on the SFM workshop, but it doesn't work on NGmod, obviously.
Ugh. How do you post that thing?
In SFM?
I meant more if it actually came out in Gmod. How would you post that thing?
I'm thinking it would be a ragdoll. Like with a few bones, and then you would just use the ragdoll mover tool or the advanced bone.
It would be all wobbly, I think.
Yeah. There are many weird models.
Yep.
That one was good. Let's see here. Alright, we're gonna do the alternative one. We're gonna do the alternative one I have.
What is that?
It is there is no problem that can't be solved with editing.
Editing!
Yeah. We're instead just gonna open up his mouth and then I'm just gonna Photoshop a tongue into it instead. That'll be easier.
Yep.
You know what? I have a theory about the one guy who's like watching this. Like we have. I have a theory that it might be that there is a person who joins at roughly the same moment as someone leaves. That's possible.
Maybe.
The most successful stream I've had so far was the first one I did with Tiger. That one was like
Mhm.
3 hours long, and
Was that the one with the pirate ship?
yeah, that was the first one with the pirate ship. That one we had 10 viewers when we were at our highest, and there was 5 people in the chat.
Ooh. Well, that's good.
Yeah, that was really good. But
How many views have we got in total? Like, how many people have watched this?
this thing,
Hmm?
I think if it's the same, if it's different people who came in here and such, I would say, I don't know, maybe 6 people or something, which is better than my average viewers. I have to admit.
Well, I just think this is funny.
Yeah, I think this is nice. Like I told you, just relax.
Oh my
be-
god, that face.
Yeah. I'm trying to get that knife a little bit closer, though.
That face, I mean, for some reason, when I stare into that face, it's like... Who took my chicken out of the fridge?
Huh?
It like looks like that, like someone just stole his chicken from his fridge.
Interesting. I actually once worked on a movie with Christian Brutal Sniper.
Ooh.
I never finished it, but I think I might still have the original raw footage. I started working on it after Burnrow vs. Vagineer, so that's like 2.5 years ago.
Oh my.
It was one of those typical, it was called CBS Yet Again, and it was one of those typical Christian Brutal Sniper movies where he just would show up, but I also decided I was gonna break the meta in it a little bit. For instance, you know that thing where he like tosses a melee weapon out of the screen and then a scout dies?
Yeah.
In this case, he was actually gonna run up to that scout, crashing down in front of it, then go over and say, "How many times have you died? I'm actually getting impressed." And proceed to dismember that scout. And then he would get back, to dismember these other people he would normally dismember, right? And that spy would usually show up, and then the spy, he would not have any blood on his clothes. He would like stand there and like look around on his clothes and be like, not bad. And then there would be like a huge blood splash that would like get him completely covered up, and he would just put his hand on his face and say, "Ah, mon Dieu."
You got blood in my... Oh, did I get blood in your suit?
He wouldn't even
No.
bother to say that. He would just be like standing there. He would like show up, and then he would be really surprised. There was no blood on me all of a sudden. There was no blood at all, and then he's like, not bad. And then huge blood splash. He's just covered, and he's just like, ah, mon Dieu. I think that would have been really fun. Like I wanted to kind of make a classic a CBS movie that sort of broke itself away a little bit.
I would have actually loved to see that. I
I
hope
might-
to make that in the future.
I might finish it at some point. Highly unlikely, but I'm kind of considering it sometimes.
I've actually made preparations for an animation,
You have?
but I've just never started with it because I have no ideas what to do with it. And the fact that I suck at animation.
What exactly was it you were gonna animate?
Basically my persona doing dumb things.
Well, I recommend getting what's it called? Give me a sec. I recommend getting Henry's animation tool.
What's that?
It's the tool I use for animation. It's called Henry's animation tool. It's kind of like a stop motion helper, but it does automatic. Let me take this rocket launcher outside and I'll show how it works. Right? I have this model here,
I
and
can't.
then I
It's delayed, remember?
yeah, I know there's a delay on it, but like, okay, right now I'm staring at the rocket launcher. Tell me when you see that. Tell me when you see that rocket launcher. You see it?
Nope.
It's that far delayed.
Wait, let me make some adjustments here. Pause and start. Load. Now it just starts right about now.
You seeing a rocket launcher?
Yep.
Okay. So Henry's animation tool is what I use. Is this thing that you open this menu, you right-click on something, and you press snapshot. Now you have a frame. You then add another frame. Then you move the thing you want a little bit, and there's a ghosting model which I really like. And then you snapshot again, and then you make another frame.
Ah, now I see.
And then you can also adjust the length of these frames about how long they play, and then it goes like this. Just press play, and then it plays automatically. Now this rocket launcher is like going a little bit left and a little bit right, and then back to its original position. And then I can adjust the length so it like takes forever to do this little move here.
Holy shit!
And then there's and I can also like slow it down so it happens like almost instantaneously.
Thing is, I don't know how to record in Garry's mod. I've tried doing it, but
I'm just gonna remove this again. You tried recording in Garry's mod?
yeah, just making a plain recording because I really want to make a video showing how I make historical soldiers.
I use Fraps, but it has for when I do my movies, but it has a huge file size. So I recommend using Open Broadcaster software for Garry's mod. That's what I'm using for live streaming. It's OBS.
OBS.
Yeah, it's
What's that? Is that something for free or does it
It's
cost
free.
anything?
it's free.
Could
OBS
you
is
send me a safe link to have something like after the live stream?
you could just search for it. Like I think I've already tried teaching you how to use that before, but you couldn't use it. Like I think you downloaded it a few months ago and you just couldn't use it because you couldn't figure out how to use it.
I don't think I ever downloaded it.
Alright. I think I'm gonna do something a little bit different again with this skull that he's holding. I don't really think... right now, I don't think that skull really is really good in that position. So I'm going to move it away and make sure that I have this thing. This is where stop motion helper can be really good, is when you want to do pictures like this where you're like shifting things around all the time.
Hmm?
Where if you want to do like where you're unsure if you want this pose or that pose, you can just use stop motion helper and then you can switch between the two. So you got both. So you essentially can make something with both. That's what I
I've
use.
always used the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I know you use manual posing, but like I also do use manual posing and such, but right now I'm trying to make a new pose with this guy to see if we can like make something that looks even better. And
Yeah, but you can still make good things with the manual pose. I mean, have you seen my latest picture?
yeah, I know that manual posing is good and all, but in this case I'm just making something so we can quickly switch between them. Like
Yeah.
so, in the event
That'd
that
be
we decide to change our minds about this, we still
But
have
have you seen my latest picture?
I'm not sure. Depends on which one it is.
My latest picture is about the English Civil War.
I think I haven't looked at it closely, but I have seen it in my watch messages. But I have 5,000 watch messages to go through.
Oh shit.
Yeah, literally. I just haven't really looked through all my watch messages since September, and they just keep on mounting up. It's irritating as hell.
I regularly check my mail, so I won't have to do that.
Yeah, I also used to do that, but I just at this point I'm just getting like sometimes I'm getting like 100 to 200 watch messages a day, and even more at some points. And so at one point I was just like I was feeling really down, and nowadays I'm kind of depressed that I'm not looking through all my watch messages anymore.
Well, I just made it, how do I say it, a routine. So, no matter what mood I'm in, I'm checking it. Ooh, he's gonna cut his hand, isn't he?
No, he's just standing there. It's like the old picture. He's standing there and holding and holding the blade by his finger. Like last time he did it with his right hand though, and he was holding it a little bit differently. But now I was just thinking, what if he's just like standing there and then he has like his tongue on it? You know, really, really nasty looking.
Well, you got the eyes good.
Yeah. Alright. Goody, 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 goody. We're now gonna do a little thingy as a precaution.
Why not add some blood in the background?
I do that with post-editing because
Oh,
I think it's easier that way. Like, that's the case that I do a lot of things post-edit because I just find it to be easier. It's what I'm used to, so...
well, I suck at editing in general, so
You've done
I
some
don't
good...
actually know how to edit blood in any way.
I think you do decent editing. Your editing isn't bad, if you ask me.
I barely do any editing.
Yeah, but the editing that I have seen you do isn't bad. If you ask me,
The
at
most
least.
common editing I do, actually, it's flags. I edit in flags in the battle pictures.
But
That's the most common thing I edit.
that's good.
But I didn't do in my most recent picture. Because I couldn't find any good flags for that. Green screen again.
Yeah, because last time I did this picture, I did a green screen, so I'm gonna make sure I have one lying around just as a precaution.
Why was it good now again?
What?
Do you explain why green screen is so good in this situation?
It's because last time I did this in two parts. Last time I did the Butcher of Gmod, right? I did the CBS workshop picture, and then I had CBS photoshopped in on top of it. And then what happened was it gave a better shading effect because I did the darking in the background a little bit different than the darking on CBS, and that's easier to do with a green screen.
Ah, smart. Right, you did that with the USF pic, right? Right?
Yeah, I did do some green screen there, but it was a little mixed with the green screen I did there. Like, it was more a case of I took two pictures and put them on top of one another, and then the green screen helped me knowing what sections I had to cut out, you know.
Yeah.
That was essentially what I did with my green screen.
Oh, by the way, your green screen tips have actually helped me.
That's good.
You know that Grey Cape pic I made?
Yeah?
Not too long ago? The one when he stands on some random ocean.
Yeah?
I used that with the green screen tip you gave me. That's why I made it.
And it's good. It's really,
That kind
really
of
good.
tip. And that was actually the first time I seriously made a serious attempt at editing.
That's good.
But it was a bit difficult since the most advanced thing I have is GIMP.
GIMP is pretty good. Like, there are several people who actually use GIMP.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not very good at it because I'm very new to it. I mean, the best thing I can use it right now is adding snow.
Yeah, and the one you did was actually pretty good with it, but I mean, there's a guy who's called Lord High on Buzzkill, right? He's done these really epic looking pictures and such. He uses GIMP.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I recommend checking him out, by the way.
I am checking him out. I think I'm watching his pics.
Alright, let's take a look at this thingy. Alright, time to open up the console and type in
Now you have several options.
JPEG quality 140 for max quality, and then it's adding lamps. First of all, a white lamp, then an orange one, and then a blue one. And time to post them. Time to post the lamps.
Time to post the lamps!
That's to get some good shading. Orange is on the right side, if I remember correctly. Okay. I'm just gonna go up on a drawing and remove draw cameras. There. I should have done that ages ago. Okay, that light up in the roof is too bright.
Hey, you don't get that shadow problem I have.
What?
You know, the shadows that cause some weird things on the model.
I don't know. I think I have. I think I have some. I have some occasionally. Just
You get them
depends.
all the time.
Alright, then we have to get this blue one. If you look closely, you can see the shadow, the blue shadow on him is moving a little bit. There. And then this one. And then there's this little thingy. Alright. We have to get him up to the up-close picture. First image.
Mm-hmm.
Second image. Third image. Fourth image. And then the background.
Oh, come on, go
And
on.
then there is one we need to do, which is this one with a green screen. Because, just to make sure.
Yeah.
And I go back to here. Should we try a different camera angle, like tilting it a little bit? Nah.
Oh my god, that is so cool.
What?
You're basically putting him back and forth.
The camera? Yeah.
No, using that thing you mentioned earlier, I gotta get that. Because that would probably save me a lot of time in World War 3000.
Exactly what?
What was it called? That stop motion aid thing you talked about.
Oh yeah, it's called Stop Motion Helper. You're gonna have to watch a little tutorial or two about how to use it. That's Bullshit has done one that's really good. Like, I recommend it. I mean, most people who make Garry Smart movies, they use Stop Motion Helper because you can do quirky animation a little bit easier. But I use Henry's animation tool because it's a little bit easier to use. Alright.
I think I'll stop with the Henry animation then. Because I'm not really an animator.
Yeah, that's the thing about it, is with Henry's animation tool, it really does a lot of the work for you. So that
Good.
helps.
Was it that one you just used to, like, switch him?
I switch him though. That's a stop motion helper. This other
Oh,
thing is
shit.
I got both. I got both because stop motion helper when I make movies is really good for lip syncing, and Henry's animation tool I use for otherwise 90% of my animation. All right. There's actually one of my live streams where I actually showed how I animate. It's like 20 minutes long.
Oh my.
I think it was like 30 minutes long, but it crashed after 20.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, that was a bad day. I need to go take a leak, okay? I'll be right back.
I'm still here. Just don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. So what to do while we wait? I don't know actually. I'm just sitting here, speaking to myself. Want me to sing something? I can sing something. I can sing. I don't know what I can sing. Maybe I can sing something for you people, or person that is here. Not. Alrighty then. Are you back?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing. Just awkwardly sitting here, not knowing what to say.
Ah, story of my life.
Isn't that a song?
I'm not sure.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a song from Guitar Hero 3.
Just awkwardly sitting here.
Oh, story of my life.
Huh. Yeah, I think so. Okay, you know what I'm kind of irritated by right now?
What?
When I'm looking at this, CBS is blocking most of the melee weapons. Like,
Son of a bitch.
like he's blocking all of the bats and a large part of the knives.
Maybe you could place the knife somewhere else. What the hell was...
What?
Oh my god.
What?
I heard an explosion.
Oh. Okay.
A really loud one. I think it's just the military practicing or something.
The military?
Yeah, they have training grounds near the town.
Ah.
They've been going at it like this for 2 days now.
Well, I can just move this one over here. How long have we actually been streaming?
How will be streaming?
I think we've been streaming for about 2 hours and about
2 hours and 20 minutes, I think.
we started talking a few minutes before we started streaming,
So maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes?
thereabouts, I think.
We don't have to be 100% sure.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter because nobody ever watches this.
I watch them. Except for now, because I'm in it.
You watch it live or do you watch it when it gets uploaded?
I usually can't watch it live because it keeps freezing. So I watch it when it comes up on YouTube.
That's good. That's something.
I mean, there was one I actually looked through all the 3 hours. That was the one, the World War 3K pick you and Tiger were making. I sat through all the 3 hours of that.
Because you were bored, or?
Because it was interesting. And because, of course, it involved my world.
Yeah.
So I was very interested to see what you were making.
Yeah. Still have to finish that one.
It's not finished?
The Gmod party is I'm just not done with the post editing yet.
Ah.
Let me see here. Let me see something here.
Yes, that's good. There's still some space in between there. You could put some knives there.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about like putting like knives in between the axes and such.
Oh, Time Cop is here.
Time Cup. Hey. Nice.
Hello, Time Cop. I've been missing you. It's so good to see you here.
I think he was here for just a few moments. I don't know.
God damn it. Maybe he's that one viewer.
So one regular viewer. And he only
Time
comes...
Cop, if you're still here, say banana hammock.
He only comes online for like the last hour or so of the show whenever we do 3 hours. And that's only when we're doing the 3 hours. Because that's the only time he ever has, apparently, is when... Because, of course, it's in Australia, so whenever we stream, it's like 7 to 9 in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah, that's really why. I mean, he wants to watch the streams live. I know that he wants...
He's still here. He's still here.
And he said... I think he just got back. He heard that, apparently.
At least he didn't misspell it.
That's good. Our one regular viewer who usually comes down when we're like almost done with the stream because we stream at the wrong time for him, but I can't really stream any later because I have to
Nope.
go to bed at some point.
Yep.
I still think the longest stream I ever did was the first one I did with Tigerface. My most successful also. That one was like 3.5 hours long.
Oh god. And we've been sitting here for 2 hours and my throat is getting sore.
Yeah. That's why I got water.
I gotta go get some tea soon.
Okay.
Some tea with honey is very good for the throat. What?
Nothing, it's just the way you said that.
Some tea with honey? Maybe some nice porridge?
You just go.
Am I racist for saying that?
I don't think so.
And I'm not going, I haven't received any orders yet to get the tea ready.
You just go. Go get some tea.
Ah. It takes like 20 minutes and by then you'll be finished, so I might as well sit here until you're done.
I could just do what I do whenever I go on stream. I usually have a lot of water with me. That helps the throat.
Water? That thing is toxic. At least according to the nobles in the 1600s.
That was because it was toxic. Drinking water in the 1600s was pretty poor. That's why everyone drank beer instead.
Yep.
But that beer was also like 2% alcohol.
Funny, I've actually watched a documentary series about Henry VIII. You know what's so special about him?
He killed a lot of his wives.
Yeah, and he is officially one of the fattest monarchs in history.
Which also kinda... It's also one of the reasons why he died was because he had a leg injury.
Yep. And apparently, this is just a rumor, but it could be true. Apparently, he was so fat, so when he started to decompose, his body exploded.
That's actually quite possible. Like, there are whales who have, may I finish?
Comparing a whale to a freaking monarch from England.
May I continue?
Sorry.
A whale who crashed onto a beach, and if it decomposes for a while, if you then poke to it, it'll explode.
Yeah.
Because of gases inside. There's actually a guy who once have told that he was almost killed by a whale because by a decomposing whale because he went up and he poked it with a stick, and this is a little creepy, but the whale was a male whale, and its dick shot out and hit him so hard that he broke his arm in 2 places.
Ow. Oh my god, I've seen a hilarious video on YouTube where it's basically a worker poking hole on a whale so it explodes, so... And there was someone who actually photoshopped Miley Cyrus into it, so you can see her coming on her wrecking ball, hitting the whale, and the whale explodes.
That's kind of funny.
Anyways, where were I? Henry VIII.
What? Tiger said what?
Yeah, that big fat English monarch. I saw a documentary about him where a historian, based on I think it was some diaries or something, went to a grocery store and basically filled his weekly diet.
Okay.
And she basically filled 4 giant shopping carts with food.
Whoa.
With 1 shopping cart being filled only with alcoholic beverages.
Well, back then, alcoholic beverages in Europe and such had a very low alcohol percentage because the water was undrinkable.
It wasn't undrinkable, actually.
It was full of diseases, really. Like, there was a reason why people weren't sick all the time. That was because they didn't drink their own drinking water because the water wasn't pure.
Mhm.
But now,
Maybe
like-
that was also the time when they just dumped all their shit into the waters and then drank it.
yeah, you know, that's the case essentially.
I know that that river that goes through the city of Venice.
Yeah, I know that one.
I think that they used to drink from the water. No, there was some kind of river. Anyways, we could take that river from India as a good example. That holy river.
Mhm.
You know, that river that is literally so filthy. So when Jackass guy Steve-O bathed in it, he puked.
I've seen the most filthy river I've ever seen in real life. That was the Nile.
Ugh.
I went to Egypt. I went to Egypt several years ago, right? And we went to Cairo for 2 days, right? I mean, we were in Sharm el Sheikh, and we went to Cairo for 2 days, and the river was filled with garbage. There was so much garbage at one point that we saw, right? There was so much garbage you could walk across the river. It was all
I didn't see that much garbage because I wasn't near Cairo when I was in Egypt.
Yeah, I was on a 2-day trip to Cairo. I was on a 2-day trip to Cairo, but
We weren't actually at Cairo when we went to Egypt because we were there just 1 year after the revolution, and it was still a bit chaotic in Cairo, but the rest of Egypt was completely calm.
I mean, I went there before the revolution, but anyhow, that river is dirty, so it's unbelievable. Like, we would like drive through the city, right? And all the trash cans were completely clean. You know why?
Because they dumped it in the river.
Yeah, like, the river was filled, well, I saw like 7 dead horses and cows lying in the water. And
Yeah.
decomposing, and like it was filled. I saw like a street sweeper who just swept everything directly into the river, and therefore at one point we saw a place where there was so jam packed with garbage you could literally walk across it. It would be a little shaky,
let's
but
take everything you said and multiply it with 10. That is the Ganges in India. Because that river is considered holy, so it is basically in that river they put the cremated remains of hundreds of thousands of people every year, and almost all of the waste goes down to that river.
that's insane.
And since that river is so called holy, people drink the water. I've heard one thing about some Hindus, that their last request is a glass of water from, I think, a drop of water from the Ganges River, the holy river. Of course they die after drinking that water.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's their last wish, I mean, it's also a case that they just want to die, you know, like if they're really sick or something like that.
It's more because of a religious reason, I think. But still. But it's so filthy that Steve-O puked when he jumped in it. And that guy has done some disgusting things and not puked.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. I did take a look at those BRB pictures. I'm sorry I haven't replied to it. I just have a lot of messages to go through and such. The thing is, I have taken a look at them, and some of them look okay and look pretty good actually, but I'm not really sure about whether or not to use them, because whenever I stream, like whenever I leave from the stream, I'm like back in 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. I'm like back in 30 seconds or something. So I'm not sure if they're necessary, but I am considering starting to use them. I am considering them. They are okay. I'm sorry I haven't replied to it. I'm really sorry. I am. And I might start using those BRB picks, and yeah, sorry.
By the way,
Yeah, what?
I just realized I still have the pictures of the Stuart tanks.
You still have it lying around?
Yep.
Time cop, in case you don't know, we talked a little bit about tanks earlier on, and about Japan and such. It was
How
interesting.
useless their tanks actually were.
Yeah. Outclassed by a light tank.
Yep. But then again, most tanks designed in the 1920s were light tanks.
Yeah, that's because of the That was because of that treaty they had going.
Yeah. I mean, light tanks were probably some of the best at the start of the war because guns weren't that big. I mean, I've seen one weird-looking tank, and that is basically it has the body of a Panzer III heavy tank, but instead of a gun, its turret consists of an MG34,
A machine
where
gun?
that 75mm gun should be.
There was an airplane that was built during World War II by the British, right?
Hmm?
It was an airplane that was designed for the purpose of being so fast it would outrun everyone.
Hmm?
And you know, it was called the Mosquito. You know what it was made by?
No,
You know why it was so fast?
no.
It was made almost exclusively out of wood.
Whoa.
Like literally, it was made out of wood, nails, and clippings and such. It was made by carpenters. The thing is, though, because it was made out of wood, it weighed a third the amount of that
Holy shit.
of a metal airplane. So they could fly about 1,000 meters higher, and they could fly almost twice as fast as any other airplane that the English otherwise had at the time.
One problem though, I don't think that thing could take much more abuse.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of like a scout from Team Fortress 2 versus a soldier. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of the same here, where this airplane couldn't take any kind of damage, but it was so fast that the enemy were frustrated because the tank crews on the ground, like those with the flak cannons and such, right? They couldn't shoot them down because this thing was flying so fast they couldn't hit it. It was so fast and so maneuverable, it was almost impossible to hit with flak cannons.
Interesting.
Yeah, like literally, it's the airplane doing. It was the only it was the mass-produced airplane from World War II that lost the fewest airplanes. It lost like 9 aircrafts total and such, and they made like 170 of these airplanes. And it was used for all kinds of things. Like they used it to lay mines behind enemy, to lay mines in the water, and
Sweet.
to do air raids and all kinds of things like that. But it was also because it had an oversized engine on it, and it was made out of wood. So it could basically outrun everyone because it was so lightweight. That's a
I
really
don't
cool.
think I've seen that picture yet, Time Cop. Could you link it?
I don't think I've seen it either.
Put it here in the chat here, and I can check it.
He's gonna do that in a while. 20-second delay. There's a 20-second delay, on the stream.
Yep, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for it.
Waiting.
Just sitting here waiting for the little picture. Just waiting for the picture to come.
Is that your Herbert voice again?
No, this is that creepy guy that's always but never knows.
It's that gay guy. Yeah, sorry.
And that gay shark. Lots of people swimming up there. I might want to take a peek, but I don't want to be alone this year. Plus, I had a dog yesterday, so now I got a bone stuck in my anus. No, this is my Herbert voice, little boy.
Oh, that's so creepy.
But I can't make that whistling sound Herbert make.
Eh.
Let's see. Oh wait, I have seen these actually.
I'm not sure
Yeah,
I
I
have.
think they're pretty good for source filmmaker.
What? You're saying short filmmaker is bad?
Well, he's been making mostly Garry's mod stuff, so if this is his newest stuff, I mean, this is quite good. Like the posing. And I don't know if I should critique this actually, because I'm not an SFM guy. I'm a G modder.
let me see here. First one.
Oh my god, that last one is sad.
I'm just wondering why he hasn't uploaded this to any groups. Oh, this one is uploaded. They said the one with slow hasn't been uploaded to any groups apparently.
You should, Time Cop. Uploading to groups is a good way to get publicity.
Yeah, that's how I got most of my watchers. Last man standing. Ah. Yeah.
That last one is quite sad, actually.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
I think it's also pretty sad. Like, I really like Gray Man.
You like Grey Man?
I kind of like him. I mean, I think he was the best of all the mans. I think he was the best one there was. He was the lead. I mean, he was able to, he was able to, get Manco and all of this. I mean, he was actually smart compared to every last one of the other members of Man. He was actually smart and a reasonable man. He was a reasonable person and all of this.
And he knew a way to make himself younger than the others.
Yeah.
That Australian machine he had.
Yeah, and all of this, like, it was also a case that he also said, like, some of his last words was, what do you think a man with my intellect could have done? Like, really, I'm kind of feeling like the same. I kind of feel sad for him, He was, he was a man, he was a self-made man who did a literal human who was self-made and who did everything by himself and all of this. So I find it kind of sad,
Wait, what did Time Club?
Have you seen the
Of
documentary?
course I've seen World War II in color. It's one of my favorite series.
I've seen that one as well. It's pretty good.
Yes. But this is actually a better series, actually. Wait, let me see if I can find the DVD. No, I don't have it in my room, but I have this DVD series of a quite old documentary from the 70s. And this documentary is really good because in it they interview a lot of people that were still alive during the war. Including very key people.
That's good.
You know who they were able to interview in that documentary series?
No.
Carl Dönitz.
That's nice.
Yeah. And a lot of key people from all sides. I mean, those generals that led the battles, they were still alive when that documentary series was made.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I've seen a one episode documentary movie that was like 3 hours long. Not 3. It's about 2 hours long, I think, and it's a documentary that consists of both interviews and live reenactions, and it's called Hiroshima. And it's where they show Hiroshima, and there are several people they have there that are interviewed from Hiroshima, who was at Hiroshima and all, and at the same time as they have some, recordings of it all.
You wanna know one of the most unlucky people in the world?
Who?
The man who has survived the only 2 atomic bombings.
Well, who was that?
I don't remember his name, but this was a Japanese man who was in Hiroshima during a business visit, I think, when the bomb hit. And he survived it, though he was badly burned. So a few days after he was injured, he went home to his hometown of Okinawa to recover.
Yeah.
And just after getting home, the Americans dropped the bomb on Okinawa.
Ooh. Wait a second. Okinawa?
No, not Okinawa, Nagasaki. Sorry,
Nagasaki.
Nagasaki. I mix up the name sometime.
Yeah, it's okay.
And amazingly, he survived that bomb too.
Wow.
So he's the only person that have survived 2 atomic bomb explosions.
Well, the thing is, the bomb on Nagasaki, it actually fell short because of fog.
Yeah, but still, 80,000 people died.
Yeah, that's because what actually happened was because of fog, it landed in a valley outside the city. But the reason why
It still did hell of a lot of damage.
yeah, but the reason why it did that much was because it was 10 times stronger than the atomic bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima.
Yep.
It was 10.
Little
It was
Boy was a plutonium bomb. Fat Man was.
no, it was
Fat Man was the plutonium one, and
Little Boy.
Little Boy was uranium.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he's another documentary series here.
I don't know.
World War II from space. I don't think I've seen that one.
I have. It's okay.
It's good.
It's okay. It isn't the best thing I've ever seen, and it goes through most of it is it's one I think you can find on Netflix, and it's mostly about the American involvement in World War II, and it skips through it really quickly. But unlike World War II in color, it shows more numbers and such. It shows things like how much money they needed and such for it and such. It's an okay documentary.
I don't actually like documentaries that focuses almost strictly on the American thing.
Yeah,
I don't really like that. I like documentaries that shows from all perspectives.
Yeah, that's really good when there is.
Yep.
The one that I really disliked was one that was called Battle Stations. At the show.
I haven't seen that one either. What is
it was called Battle Stations. I saw it on YouTube. It was a series about the Enterprise, the most decorated warship in history, the carrier, the USS Enterprise, right? The thing is, what happened was a large part of the time they made it sound like that this carrier was the sole reason why America won.
I think Americans like doing that.
Yeah, but it was like the way they described it was that what is the worst documentary ever? I don't know. I've seen a lot of documentaries, but what's the worst I've ever seen? I don't know.
I've seen one. I don't remember the name, but it was one horrifying documentary I've seen, and it horribly overglorified America. Like it described America as the saviors of the world or something. It was a really bad one.
They were more or less,
But
yeah, you know what? They did a lot of good things, during World War II and such.
yeah, but they didn't save the war. The Russians did that.
Oh, the
Russians did the bulk of the fighting of the war. I mean, let's take out of 10 German soldiers that fell in the war, 8 of them fell on the Eastern Front.
That's mostly because Russians had more soldiers, really.
Yep. So they did the bulk of the fighting in defeating the Nazis.
Yeah. I think that was also because that Japan did not invade Russia.
Yep. Well, they did have some skirmishing at the start of the war, but Russia beat their asses.
Yeah.
And at the end of the war, the Russians actually attacked. They took Manchuria from Japan, and that actually became the crippling factor for Japan because they literally lost their last resources.
Yeah. That was like the last things they had left. Was like there.
And Manchuria was a rich region. I mean, that's where they got the majority of their coal, their metal, and their synthetic fuel.
Yeah. But what is the worst documentary I have ever seen? I am not sure.
I just mentioned the one, but I don't, as I said, I don't remember the name of the one I mentioned. I saw it on YouTube.
I can't really remember,
But what I would say defies a bad documentary is basically lack of facts and more over glorifying things. Because a documentary should be about facts.
Yeah.
What's that sound?
That's me breathing into my microphone.
Why?
Sorry. It was accidental.
You just got quiet.
I mean, I was quiet. I was trying to think. I think I've seen a pretty bad documentary a while ago. I only saw like half of it and then I turned it off, but I can't remember.
You usually don't want to remember. Oh, that's a nice sword. Where'd you find that?
What sword exactly?
It's something that looks like an orcish sword.
Orcish sword. Could you describe exactly where on the
The
picture?
one on the table besides that cross sign.
Below the table? Oh, that one, that's from Dishonored. It's a game that I have wanted to play, but I can't play.
Why?
It crashes after 30 minutes on Windows 10.
Fuck.
It crashes all the time, like, literally. And it crashes for no reason whatsoever.
Like me when I play Fallout 3.
Yeah, but this one just crashes so frequently I just gave up on playing it. But yeah, this orcish sword here, that's...
How do I spell Dishonored?
Dishonored.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here we go. That's nice. That's really nice. Oh man, I could have used these ones.
For what exactly?
The picture I just made was about the English Civil War, and these guns would have looked perfect for the wheel-lock pistols used by cavalry.
Well then. Guess I'm helping a few.
And I agree with Time Cop, it was loud.
Yeah, that was loud, sorry.
I'm glad I'm not wearing headphones.
Sorry about that.
At least you weren't making any of my annoying sounds. Are you getting tired?
I am tired. It's also
I
getting...
am getting tired too, and I'm getting hungry.
And it's 10 minutes and 11 here in Denmark, so we've been streaming for almost 3 hours. Are you wearing
Oh
headphones?
no. Time Cop was wearing headphones, oh my god.
Sorry. Sorry
You
for...
just gave him tinnitus. Tinnitus.
Sorry about that. That wasn't intentional. I'm not sure if that's a good excuse, though.
I did not intend to injure you, sir. It's like a Family Guy clip where Peter is going to hunt with Dick Cheney.
Wasn't it something like he shot him several times and then said, "Oh, sorry, I thought you were a deer."
Not just, oh sorry, just shot him calmly. Sorry, I thought you were a deer.
Dick Cheney, who's that guy even? I can't even remember.
He's a politician that got into some drama a few years ago, I think, after a hunting accident.
Ah. Okay.
I think he was involved with the Bush administration.
Possibly. Then again, it also depends on which of the Bush administrations we're talking about here.
The more recent ones.
There are two. Like
The most...
there's George. There was like Bush, and there was George H.G. Bush and George W. Bush. Like,
W.
Yeah, okay, it's W. Good. He was the worst of the two. Despite the fact that both of them started a Gulf War. Like literally the two... what?
What?
Can someone please give me an explanation on the Christian Brutal Sniper? Oh yeah, Christian Brutal Sniper, this is a recreation of my most popular pick. Wait, did he just disconnect?
Maybe it was someone else.
I don't know,
He's still there?
Can you just say something? Like,
Banana hammock.
if he writes in the chat again, I'm gonna explain it to him. But otherwise, we're just gonna continue a little bit here.
Where are we?
Yeah, but both of the...
He's still here. He's still here.
Oh, okay, he's still here. Good. What's happening here is... The original picture was my most popular picture on DeviantArt, which is called The Butcher of Gmod, which was this idea for a contest entry where Christian Brutal Sniper is standing with this twitchy little smile and holding his knife in his hand, and he has, like, on his background there's, like, stuff to the limit with melee weapons. We're recreating that because I never truly liked that image. So now we're recreating it where I actually like it, and I decided to make this thing even more twitchy than before by giving him some really mean-looking eyes, and I am making so that he's holding this blade up close, and then he's supposed to, like, have his tongue out and, like, licking it where there's, like, blood on it, such, like, just to make it as freaky as possible, you know. Freaky. Well, what this would look like if he was, like, bent a little forward. Instead. What the?
Where are we? Oh yeah, bush.
Yeah.
I once saw a hilarious scene from a show called Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Where the contestants of the show got a question which they were gonna make something funny with, and it was basically George W. Bush t-shirts with stands on them. And one of the contestants said, the W stands for honesty.
I'm not entirely sure if that was correct.
Exactly. I mean, it's Bush we're talking about. And it's a joke show, you know. Search Whose Line Is It Anyway, and you'll understand.
Okay.
Another contestant said, what was it? Honorary student at Johnson Middle School.
Johnson Middle School.
Yep.
Wasn't it something like he went to 4 different colleges or something like that before he finally...
Yeah, but they were joking. You know, it's a joke show.
Yeah, but like the real George W. Bush, he went to like 4 different colleges.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Things...
Yep. He's seen it. Time Cop seen it. Time Cop seen it.
Nice.
Alright. Hey, Time Cop, have you seen that scene from Scenes from a Hat where they basically get the question of the weirdest battle cries?
Alrighty, let's see here. I'm gonna start taking some pictures again. First, over here.
Have you heard of Colin Mockery?
Me?
Hmm?
No, not really.
He's one of the comedians that partakes in that Whose Line Is It Anyway show. And he is one of the funniest ones, because he's quite random. So basically, Time Cop, they get that Scenes from a Hat question of the weirdest battle cries. And Colin Mockery walks up and shouts, "Give me liberty or a bread muffin!"
Give me liberty or a brand muffin?
Yep, as a battle cry. And another one, "Get my brown pants!"
I'm just sitting here taking screenshots.
Wait, Time Cop, I think I'll just give you the link to that YouTube video. Let's see.
I think that's the good thing for Time Cop, right? He's the only guy on the chat, so you know.
Confusing battle cries.
I mean, he's like the only guy in chat, so he's getting the special privileges that most streamers wouldn't otherwise give their audience. But because he's our only current watcher, he gets special privileges.
Ah, god damn it! I can't put a comment here. Damn it. Hey Time Cup, how do I give you the link? How can I give you the link?
You know, maybe people are constantly leaving this because we're doing something creepy. I don't know.
Nah,
That's probably not the reason. This is.
I think I scare him off.
I don't think you scare them off. I don't think that.
Oh, good. Because I like it when people are near me.
It's you know, whenever I stream with Atlas Zooey or my cousin or Tigerface, we also have a very small audience. You know, one of the only two regular people who've watched my streams, that's Time Cop and Nilton. And Nilton only haven't been able to watch lately, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
I kind of miss what she did earlier on, where she would spam the where she would spam through the what's it called, the chat.
Comment section.
Yeah, the comment section with the ASCII art and such. That was a lot of fun. She also said at one point that she would draw me and Tigerface. She'd draw me and Tigerface. She still hasn't done that though. I'm not gonna hold that against her. I won't.
She's drawn me once. But that was a request.
Yeah, there's that thing. Most stuff that people does with my Sona and such, that's because I request it, and not because they do it voluntarily.
I do it voluntarily sometimes.
Yeah, but most people don't, when it's me.
Shit.
I can live with it. It's kind of funny. The people who is actually gonna be watching this, you know, they're gonna get some spoilers to my movie and a few other projects of mine. If they actually look closely on the stream. Who has drawn? Who has drawn you? What Robin Williams is thinking right now? I have a career. What the hell am I doing?
That's not who slime is anyway.
Okay. It's just, you know, if you're looking right here, you can actually see some of the stuff I'm actually working on lately. Like my movie with Harbinger I'm currently working on. And that RPG project I've been working on the past week.
Ooh.
Who has drawn you? If he's talking about my my icon, it was drawn as a commission by Linkaton.
I made my profile pic myself.
Oh, Samurai. Someone said the room. That was Nilton. You know.
That was a paid request.
And that was a paid request, yeah. Alrighty. Alrighty.
Linkaton?
Yeah, Linkaton. It's yeah. She's the one who's drawn my icon.
Ah, okay.
She drew my icon for a paid commission which I paid in a refined. I paid with one refined.
Yeah, I actually try to get as much mail as possible right now on TF2 since it's a very accepted form of currency in this DA community.
Yeah.
At least in the Garry mod community.
Yeah, it's kind of strange.
Not really. People need metal in TF2.
Yeah. Maybe I should go sell my Man Up tickets then. I hear they're worth like 16 metal a piece. 16 refined a piece.
I just melt the map. I just play TF2 and melt the weapons I get.
Yeah,
because I have what I need in TF2 and I don't want more.
I only melt duplicates.
I have a few selection of weapons I've mastered in, and so I keep the weapons I want, the rest I melt. And luckily, most of the weapons I get when I play TF2 are weapons I either already have, or are weapons I don't want.
I keep every weapon because my rule
There
of
was
thumb.
one time actually where after I got an achievement, I actually got a hat, a sniper hat.
Hmm?
But I didn't want it, so I gave it away for free the next day.
Okay. I just melt, duplicates because I keep one of every weapon. I
Duplicates.
keep one of every weapon because then if I ever want to use that weapon, I'm like, showing it. I like have it lying around. All
Hmm.
right. This here is a little spoiler for that project have been working
Wait,
on
you
lately.
finished the pick?
More or less actually. I couldn't really think of anything else to do it, so I decided.
Maybe.
So I decided as a little closure for today, I decided to show a little glimpse of a project I'm working on.
Oh yeah, show it now, show it, please. Show it to me, I won't tell. I won't tell anyone.
Tell anyone we got like 3 people watching, and the time cop is one of them. this this is a little project of mine I'm working on, which is my Sona as a game character. It's kind of funny actually, and here we are and it was just showing like a leveling process of sorts. It's a little hard to explain, but the people who are on this picture here are this is Samurai Knight, by the way. This guy with a
With a jetpack
jet.
and chainsaws.
Yeah, this is Rodneybot from America, with the enhanced movement speed and a battle and with battle armor and a assault rifle. This is Atlas Zui, who likes to play snipers, so I gave him a sniper. And this is me. I'm basically a tank. I'm a heavy. Yeah, this is me essentially.
Rotnibot looks like something that could be used in World War 3000.
I could send you the dupe if you want to.
I would actually appreciate that.
Yeah,
And where'd you get that gun? Holy
this gun.
shit. Yep,
Give me a sec.
that looks... Oh my god, that would be perfect substitute for Zero's rifle.
It's not a sniper rifle, by the way. It is an assault rifle. Just so you know.
Yeah, but a substitute, I mean... Oh wait, it works for you now. Maybe it just glitches in dark areas.
Which is in dark areas?
The sniper rifle I used for Zero in World War 3000. For some reason it glows purple in dark areas.
Yeah, that also happens to a few of my models. It usually works by... I usually remove it by using a lamp with a
It was
low...
quite difficult to do that in World War 3K since it's supposed to be dark.
Yeah, I know. What was it called? What was this little thingy called? Come on. I have it around here somewhere.
And yes, Time Cop, I can see Rockney too. Hey, we're 4 people here.
4 people. I really wonder who those 4 people are. It's probably just some... It's
You, me, Time Cop, and that creepy guy around the corner.
that creepy guy around the corner. Yeah, that's not a nice thing to know about. Let me think. I think my thinker stopped working.
Maybe we should call it a day then.
Yeah, because I wanted to find that rifle to you so you can find that one at the very least. Like, what was it called?
You can find it later for me. I mean, I'm not in a hurry.
I just wanted to do this little thing, because otherwise it would irritate me for the rest of the evening. Or the rest of the night.
By the powers of B, I
be
command you not to be irritated.
It might be Nilton. Nah, we're down to 3 again. I think it's just some people like browsing through various live streams to try to find something fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what happens most of the time, really.
Wow, we've been sitting here for 3 hours.
Yeah. Time goes fast, don't you think?
Oh. Holy shit. Well, guess I just have to take my Saturday sweets tomorrow.
Your Saturday sweets?
Or snacks, rather. My popcorn.
You eat popcorn on Saturday? That's looking
It's my substitute for candy.
Ah. Okay, it wasn't this one, I remember. What?
We can take it another time.
it's just, this will irritate me if I don't find this. I mean, it's, my add-ons list is not that long, so let me just think for a moment. It was called something really, really special. I just... Well, we can, we can finish off by us telling a little bit about what's going to happen, what's going to happen on our DA pages for the next bit, for the next while. Like that's something we would like say. Like I'm hopefully gonna finish that. I'm hopefully gonna finish this little project thingy I got going on here. I got 2 pictures left to do, and one of them is overcomplicated, and I might upload that separately. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Sorry, that was my parents showing up. Okay, I'm just gonna find this little thing here and then I'm gonna go offline, I think. But unless someone else has something they want to say or want to ask about. It's called Section 8. Samurai?
Yeah.
It's called Section 8. It's
Thank
called
you.
Section 8 Prejudice.
Section 8.
There is the assault rifle. And it only has 1 body group, but it looks cool. It also got some, these really cool looking sniper rifles and such. I think they look nice. That's okay. Alright.
There we go, thank you.
You're welcome. And I think that pretty much wraps us up for today. We've been streaming here for about 3 hours time, and that's a little too long if you ask me. We should have streamed for a little bit less, but we're done with the picture now.
Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, now I'm just gonna be doing some post-editing and we'll be finished. So, I'm CommanderJonas, and I thank TimeCup and whoever has actually watched this, or whoever's gonna watch this on YouTube, for seeing this. And do you have any closing remarks? Do you have any closing remarks, Samurai?
Oh, you talked to me. Closing remarks. I don't know. I'm a bit tired.
Okay. So, bye, and have a continued good day.
Sayonara, senpai!
Bye.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
Ah, that's okay.